What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Get my mic in the right spot. There we go. Let me kill some of the music here. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Ooh, Honduran coder in first today. Alyssa, Miriam. Hey, everybody, how's it going? How's it going? Redbird, welcome back. K-Doge, hey, how you doing? All right, so today's question is, would you rather be in a fight club that met once a month or a book club that met every day? So fight club or book club? Answer that in chat for me. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see everyone. Izzy said book club. I don't want to get punched. Rossi said, I'd be killed for sure in a fight club, but I don't have time for a daily book club. So time or death. It's surprising the number of folks saying fight club. You know what? We have a great community, but a community is ready to throw down too. I respect that. I like that a lot, actually, to know that my community is ready to. My community don't want to read no books, but we'll throw down. All right? We'll throw down. I love that. We can't talk about our fight club though. That's that'll be a special prize for the micro Leons. It'll be like 20,000 micro Leons, and you get added to the fight club. We meet once a month. It's 100,000 micro Leons to unlock the daily book club though. God forbid. Sorry, my mic's like in a weird spot. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. I want the books. So tonight, a couple of things. We're going to spend some time answering questions as always. I'm going to talk a little bit more about 100 devs now that the application is open. It's been a lot of fun to see all those applications come in. And then tonight we're going to review a lot of the JavaScript that we touched on last week. We're going to have lots of new examples. We're going to have lots of kind of hands-on keyboard time tonight. And this class should be a little bit shorter than normal, depending on how fast we move through all the code examples. So we'll be reviewing the big four. We'll be going over functions, conditionals, loops, variables. So if you're still feeling shaky on any of that, tonight's the night for you. We'll get everything going. So I am going to bring up Little Leon, and then I'm going to start answering your questions. So let's get into it. All right. Questions about last class, questions about future, questions about anything code related. Let's get our questions in while we wait for folks to roll into chat here. Miss Turner, who are you on Discord? Everybody's been asking. They want to connect. Leon, I spent $30 on Minecraft with no Minecraft server to be found. I've worked on this Minecraft server. Let me tell you, I had no idea how much it took to get a Minecraft server off the ground. All the mods, all the things that you needed to do to like make sure people can't grief it. I've put a lot of time into this. I will hopefully be able to get it done by the weekend. I thought it would be just like boop and like we're live. No, like if you want it to be set up right, it takes some time. So I apologize. It's taking a little bit longer than I was honestly expecting to get a Minecraft server up. But I'm hoping by like Friday, I have some time on Friday that I'll be able to finish it all up, and then we'll hopefully launch by this weekend. Did I learn some nice stuff? Yeah, I didn't know how vast the community was for Minecraft. Like I had done some Minecraft in the past, but like all the mods that are there now, all like the things you can do to like secure your server, things like that. So it was a lot of fun stuff. Said, Leon, how are you doing? I'm doing good. It was a good weekend. I moved, and since I moved, we're trying to get like new furniture, but furniture's like sold out like hard. Like every couch we tried to buy, they wanted us to wait until like November. Like no joke. Like, yeah, you can order it, but it won't be ready until November. So that's been a little bit of a pain, is just trying to find furniture. I get it September. I get like there's like a pandemic happening, but it's been a pain in the butt to get the furniture that we wanted. So other than that, weekend was good. Worked on that server. Got some coding done for upcoming 100 devs. So it's been a good day. Never Legend said, what are your thoughts on being a Python dev? It's a great career. Being a Python developer can be a great career. There are tons of jobs that are open for Python now. My only qualm with Python and why I don't typically recommend it for new folks is that it's taught at university, right? Like at university, you're going to learn. Never Legend. I appreciate that. Thank you for the sub. It's going to RC. So the interesting thing about learning Python, wonderful language. I love the language. I've been learning it myself recently. But the problem is that that and Java are some of the major languages taught at universities. And so if you're trying to get any competitive edge you can against somebody that isn't self-learning, one of those edges, what? Never Legend. You're wilding right now. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a big dono to RC. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, a bunch of people now get the little Leon emotes. So well done. Thank you. So what? Stop. I appreciate you, brother, but please stop. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So many people have the emotes now. Yay. So going back to answer your question about Python, love it. Great language, lots of job opportunity, but you might be competing against folks coming out of university, and that might be a little bit more difficult of a road. Most universities don't have a web development class, and if they do have a web development class, it is like 1, maybe 2 courses at max. And so you're not competing against them. They would have to learn that stuff on their own, just like you. And so that's why I recommend, hey, Manny Manatee, I appreciate that. Appreciate you gifting the sub. If you want the quickest way to a job, then JavaScript I always recommend, just because you're not going up that competition. But Python's a great language, lots of great job opportunity. It's just kind of a slightly less of a competitive edge going into the job market. And that's the only reason why I tell folks, if they're trying to get from zero to job as quickly as possible, that's why I recommend JavaScript instead of Python. If we don't get into 100 devs but follow along here, do you think we still have a shot of getting a job if we do everything available? Redbird, yes. The only thing that you'll be really missing is that, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, is that you won't get the built-in resume review, the portfolio reviewing, the like one-on-one interview prep, mock interviewing, stuff like that. You won't get that, which is really important. But I'm working on a system, and I kind of alluded to this in Discord, where folks can do peer review and peer mentoring all digitally. And so I'm hoping that even folks that don't get it directly from me as part of 100 devs will have some way to use the community to get that stuff as well. So yes, I'm working really hard on getting that all to work. So I do think you will have the skills available to you to find a job. But remember, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. The job search process is incredibly difficult, incredibly hard, and incredibly long. That in of itself is often more difficult than the actual learning how to code portion. And so I don't want to sell this like bootcamp as like you do it and you're guaranteed. No, it's a lot of hard work. And then the whole job search process is a whole lot of hard work on top of it. So just something to keep in mind. Just going through the chat here. Hey, I really appreciate everyone with the subs and the gifting the subs. As I mentioned before, all this is 100% free. You don't need to spend a dime to learn anything here on this channel or anything I'll ever put out there in the world. All the donations, cheering, bits, that's all going to Resilient Coders, which is a nonprofit coding bootcamp I work at during the day. Cool. Miss Turner, the folks were looking for you. They wanted to see who you were on Discord so they could say hello. You didn't give an answer what kind of book club it was. Yes. So if you're just getting here a little bit later, the question this evening was, you rather be part of a fight club that meets once a month or a book club that meets every day? I'm definitely all in on this fight club, and I feel like our community is ready to go all in on fight club as well. So that's pretty cool to see. Do you think it's best to start kind of fleshing out a personal project as we go along and learn the fundamentals, or wait until we got the basics down? once you know the basics, once you feel comfortable with the basics, it's definitely time to start building personal projects. You're going to learn way more from personal projects than you will ever learn from a tutorial, than you will ever learn from a class. And so a big portion of 100 devs is a lot of project work. It's going to be working with you and other developers on functioning development teams that are all kind of students learning to learn the things that you need to learn and put everything into practice. My full stack classes, I really try to stay away from just lecture and that's it. I really need you all engaging, building, and kind of finding the things that you're passionate about. Cool. How many apps have I gotten so far? Let's see. I'll take a peek. Like folks that have like started the process, filled out a survey, sent me an email, and are on their way to doing the things that I asked, we're at like 250. So it's definitely quite a few, and it's going to take me a while to go through everything, but it's not as much as the last time. Last time we had like 2,000 people. But I only done one tweet, and I've only mentioned it on Discord and in the newsletter. I don't think I'll probably push it more than that anywhere else. Maybe one more Reddit post, and that's it. So the chances are looking good for everyone. Is there any way to know that our applications have been received, mainly our video and Google form? No, I will send out an email to everyone, I guess. I think that's a really good idea, Izzy. I think it's a good idea. Once the applications close, I'll send an email out to everyone. Maybe like a couple days before, I'll send an email. And then once it closes, I'll send an email thanking everyone for their application. But right now, it's just too many. I couldn't do individuals. But I think an email to everyone at the end or close to the end would be a good idea. So thank you for that. Knocked, you bought a couch in June and waited until September? Jeez, yeah, I'm feeling that right now. Yeah, a lot of the manufacturers were shut down. Just going through the questions here, folks. If you have questions, throw them up into chat, please. I always like to start off with questions. Thank you to Manny and Never Legend for all the subs. So many of you all now have the little Leon emoticon, so I would love to see you use that in chat. All right. It's a sub trade. Nice. Straight Jacket said, what if we have no college degree? I've literally helped hundreds of folks go from no degree to employed as software engineers. So does a college degree help? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is it a requirement? No. And so it's not something that I'm looking for when people join 100 devs. It's not something that a lot of folks that are hiring are an absolute must. Are there still some companies that will completely throw your resume in the trash because you don't have a degree? Yes. Is there companies that don't care if you have a degree? Yes. And so that's why that job search process is so hard and so long, because you got to identify the companies that are a good fit. And so that's part of it. Currently in pursuit of being a Python dev. Really excited to see how things turn out. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes, Never Legend. I'm rooting for you. Let's work on some Python together. In the bootcamp, will there be a moment where you go, okay, this is the part where you should start looking for a job? Yes, mine. About halfway through the bootcamp is when I'm going to be like, all right, job search time. And you're going to take 15 weeks to prepare and get ready and to start the process. Do you worry this community will become so popular that there will be people attracted to grief it? Yes, but I think the community will be strong enough to mod and do things like that. One of the big things I'm working on right now, it's just a lot of work to kind of get, like, there's so many little things you don't realize about, like Discord and streaming and all these little things that like just you have to get right. And so one of them is moderating. And so Alyssa's been crushing it, helping. We always have folks that come in and say weird or mean things, and she's been amazing at like getting those things off of chat. I'm going to be opening up to a few more mods on both Twitch and on Discord to help keep the community going, and also like working on better rules so folks know how to kind of engage on those platforms. And so all that's coming. It's just a lot of little work, and so keep an eye. I'll be releasing kind of all those kind of updates over the next week or two. Cool. Let's going through. Omar said, if there are some people that don't follow through once they're part of 100 devs, is there a chance you let some other folks join? Yeah, I think we're going to have some reserves because even with this current bootcamp, there wasn't like as much like you have to be here every day type thing. And so we did have folks slide off. So we started with like 60 and there were really only like 30 that were active. And we actually had more folks that were not part of the first boot camp that were more active than folks that were in the boot camp. And so I'm trying to put a lot more barriers to entry just to make sure we find folks that are really serious. And I definitely think we'll have some reserves. Hey, Code Planner, welcome back. What should we want to do if we do not have a creative mind, if we are going to build personal projects? So the first thing I always think is there something that you are passionate about? Like if you let's say, for example, you played a lot of Hearthstone, right? I don't know if you do that or not. But let's say you play a lot of Hearthstone. Is there something that's missing in the Hearthstone community that's necessary? Is there something in the Modern Warfare community that's missing, right? If there's something that like you do naturally, is there something that you wish that community had? That's where I would start. If there is not something that you're passionate about or something that exists in the community, build a replica of another app. I like folks to build Instagram as one of the first projects they work on. Building Instagram will give you so many like little things that you'll need for other full stack projects. And so I'm a big fan of like, if you can't think of anything creative or something that you want to bring into this world or to exist, build apps that already exist and have a lot of followers or folks that like use them. Instagram's great. You learn how to make posts, you make how to have user authentication. It's really a CRUD app through and through, meaning that you're creating stuff, reading stuff, updating and deleting stuff. And so if you can't think of something creative, there are like these other projects that I think are worthwhile. Instagram's my always go to as like a first big project. Co-planner says, hey, sorry if I missed this, but what is the deadline to apply? The deadline to apply will be 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now. So not this upcoming Friday, but the next one will be when I'll close it. So everyone has about 2 weeks to get everything in, and then that's when we'll kind of shut it down. Hey, welcome everybody from Reddit. If you have any more questions, go and get them out. I always like to start off with questions as folks get here. Thank you for coming after work, giving your all. I know it's late. I appreciate everybody being here. We're going to get to some JavaScript tonight. We're going to have lots of hands-on practice. We're going to be writing a lot of code. So excited for tonight. Having some trouble compressing the video. If you're having trouble compressing video, you can always hit me up on Discord. Maybe we can submit it that way. But yeah, I think getting it through email is kind of like one of those barriers to entry. Yeah, about 2 weeks left to apply. Hey, Leon, how can we make our job applications stand out? That's a great question. I'm going to have like multiple classes on this, but doing all the small things right. Networking your way into a position. Just applying never works. Especially I know where you're located. And so where you're from, applying never works. Like if you just click apply, that's not how you get a job as a software engineer. You have to network your way into an open position. So you got to find someone that knows someone that can get you in touch with the hiring manager, and then talk to them directly. Make sure your resume is geared specifically for that company. I don't care what your past experience is. You can make it work, right? Like you can talk about your customer service. You can talk about something that makes your past experience sound like a win for the company you're applying to. Then you have to be really strong. Like make sure not only your resume is strong, but all your other online personas. If you have a GitHub, make sure everything's clean and everything has a README file. If you have a Twitter, make sure it's professional. Like anything they could find you online, make sure it's geared to you being a software engineer and geared to like you getting the job. So to stand out, good projects, passion can really stand out for entry-level roles. And so when I was hiring folks, I would look for like what are the big projects they worked on, what showed me that they could be a good fit for the company. And so it's not just applying, it's networking your way in and then tailoring your whole existence to being a good fit for that role. And so we'll have like a couple classes on how to do that. That's a good question. Will there be a Hustle Week equivalent to 100 devs? Yes. Somewhere through 100 devs, you will be asked to get a paid client. So that would be a one of the things that you're going to see as we move through. So everyone that goes through 100 devs will have some sort of a freelancing career that they start. Never Legend, yeah. Hit me up online. I'm happy to build Python with Instagram with Python. I think that'd be a cool project to work on. So if you missed a lot of classes, reach out to me. Let me know what happened and why. Is it mandatory to complete the task on the Gleam site? Yes, I want to make sure that everyone is kind of like doing what they need to do to apply. And a lot of it's just so like I know that you're following all the accounts that I use to share information. And the other thing is just to put a slightly larger barrier to entry so we get more folks that are committed to actually going through the program. Challenge, absolutely. Just reach out or just send me an email. It's totally fine. Straight Jacket. We're going to talk a lot about how to think like a developer. There's a really good No Starch Press book that's about how to think like a developer that I recommend. So if you just like No Starch Press and you look up how to think like a developer, they have a really great book. You can find it online for free, actually. Yep, and we'll be starting exactly, as I said, we'll be starting all the way over from the beginning. And so if you are going to be joining us new and haven't gone through the HTML and CSS, we're going to go back through that. All right. Just a few more questions and we're going to get started. I want to jump right into this JavaScript. Cool. All right. Yeah, I like a lot of books. A lot of books have helped me a lot in my development career. All right. So real quick, I want to talk about 100 devs, and then we're going to jump into doing some JavaScript. Okay. So 100 devs will be starting October 20th. Applications are open for the next 2 weeks. We'll be doing the same thing that we've done here on Twitch, but we're going to be doing a full stack course, meaning we're going to go all the way from kind of no skills to having all the skills you would need to be employed as a software engineer that focuses on web development. Okay. It's going to be 30 weeks long, which is a long amount of time, but we're only meeting twice a week. And then I'm expecting at least 10 hours outside of class of you working on the material, you building things and doing the things that you need to do to be successful. About halfway through that program, we're going to start doing intensive, like how to apply, how to interview, things like that. And then I'm going to help you as we get closer and closer to the end of those 30 weeks with interview prep, with resume and portfolio reviews, with kind of private sessions for the folks that are going through 100 devs, just to make sure everyone's technical skills are up to par. And so there's a lot of stuff that I've been building out for this program that's going to make you a really strong developer. And so that's the goal, is to take 100 folks from zero to employable in those 30 weeks. And like I said before, I'm focusing on folks that have been affected by the pandemic, focusing on folks that are traditionally not represented in tech. So those are the folks that I'm going to give priority to, but it's open to everyone. And so if you're serious about committing to learning web development, if you're serious about committing to a new career and you want to put in the hard work and hustle over the next 30 weeks together, I highly encourage you to apply. If you do ! 100 devs in chat, you get the link to my blog post that explains how to apply. And K-Doge, thank you for the hydrate. I'm going to take a sip of water. Thank you. That was much needed. I need to figure out how to get the microleon caches in a different window. I'm afraid I might miss some of them sometimes. If I miss it, please bring it back up again. So we will have office hours once a week that will be mandatory. And once I had more people apply, I'm going to see if we can do a third day each week. So currently it's 2 with office hours that will be mandatory, but I'm trying to see if we can actually finagle that third day. So it's not 100% set in stone right now, but it's something that I would like to do. And so I'm going to reach out to the folks that I'm interested in having as part of 100 Devs and make sure it works for everyone. Today is just water. And in my mug, I have a lovely tea from Trader Joe's. It's like their pumpkin spice tea. So delicious, and some water. I wanted like a bougie cup to feel better about myself. So I bought one of like the Starbucks cups. I'll never go to Starbucks and like spend money. But I bought the mug so I could pretend. So that's what I'm doing. Miriam, Miriam did. Damn, she did. Posture check. Thank you. That was a good one. Thank you for the posture check. I was leaning forward. My neck was starting to hurt. All right. Got to fit in with the locals. That is true. All right, folks. Any questions about 100 devs before we move on? I want to jump into JavaScript. I want to get review going. I want to get your fingers typing. So any questions about 100 devs before we move on? Yep, it's going to be long. It's going to be a long amount of time because there's a lot to cover and we're only meeting every so often. Okayla, I think I'll probably be taking a week off because there's just a lot of stuff I have to do to prep the stream. I'm adding a lot of stuff, like a lot of quality of life improvements to the stream, to how people can interact with the stream. So I think I need like a week to kind of get all that stuff hammered down. But I will release a community goal next class. And if that community goal gets reached, then I'll do a class in between. But I think we'll probably be taking a week off. So I'll be giving reading, Omar. I'll be giving reading in between the weeks and the start. So there'll be some reading to keep you happy, some tutorials to keep you happy. So yeah, let's get started, folks. I'm excited. We got a lot of fun stuff to review tonight. I really want folks to walk away feeling like they are confident with their JavaScript. And so that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go real quick. I need to set up something on my computer side, and then we're going to jump into JavaScript. If you don't have the slides, you can do exclamation point slides, right? You can do exclamation point slides. That'll give you the slides for today. And if you want the materials to follow along and you're new, you can go ahead and do exclamation point Discord. That will give you access to our Discord community. Once you agree to the rules, you can do the follow along materials channel and get all the materials for today. So there's a lot of starter code that we'll be using today. And so you're going to want that if you want to follow along. Straightjacket, I've seen all walks of life get into a good career as a software engineer. I think it's more, do you enjoy it, right? Do you enjoy writing code every day? Do you like solving problems every day? If that is true, then you can make it as a software engineer. Yeah, gatekeeping is a very big problem in software engineering, especially folks that spent 4 years at university, grinded at some smaller companies. They hate the idea that you can learn this on your own and for free. So always be careful when people are telling you that you can't do it. Is it hard? Yes. Is it really fucking hard? Yes. Is it a lot of work? Yes. But can you do it? Self-studying? Yes. Can you do it for free? Yes. Can you get a good job? I've seen hundreds of people do it. So always know that gatekeeping is pretty strong in this area. But if you have the conviction to be good, you enjoy it, you can make it as a software engineer. All right. I'm all set up on my end. Let me go back to Little Leon, and we're going to start going through the slides today, folks. I'm excited. All right. Always starting off with the golden rule. We're reviewing JavaScript today, right? So we are going to be writing code, and we're going to have some HTML that we're going to work on. We're going to have some CSS that we're going to work on, and we're going to have some JavaScript that we're going to work on. And all of these are going to be in separate files. And the reason why they're going to be in separate files is... Chat, why will all these elements be in separate files? Yes, organization. following this separation of concerns. If I'm working with another developer and that developer says, hey, Leon, I want to add an extra paragraph of content, they're going to go to the HTML file. If I'm working with another developer and they say, hey, Leon, I want to make something red, they're going to go to the CSS file. And if they say, hey, Leon, when I click on something, I want the whole page to spin, they're going to know to go to JavaScript. So following this rule of separation of concerns makes it so that you can keep your code organized not only for yourself, but eventually when you're working with other developers, you can all follow this rule and stay organized. Real quick, remember our HTML elements can have IDs. IDs are unique identifiers. We're going to start using them a lot in our JavaScript, right? Our JavaScript is going to use these IDs so we can target specific elements that are in the DOM. Okay. So when we give things IDs in our HTML, we can start using those in our JavaScript to target unique elements. So when we do document.querySelector and we do #zebra, that will give us just this paragraph. So you'll see them popping up. You'll also notice that we have classes that can be applied to each HTML element. Each element can only have one ID, but they can have as many classes as they want. And we can start adding and removing those classes with JavaScript. So we saw a lot of hiding and showing a hidden class, and that's how we were adding and removing stuff to the DOM. So IDs and classes have the utility for organizing our HTML, styling with our CSS, but then also give us these nice little hooks for our JavaScript to use when we're interacting with the DOM. All right, programming. The golden rule of programming is a computer will do what you tell it to do. Okay, so what is a program? A program is a set of instructions that we write to tell a computer what to do. It's just a set of instructions. If you say, hey, what's a program? A program should just be a set of instructions. So if a program is just a set of instructions, then the act of programming is simply writing those instructions in a language that a computer can understand. Okay. We are going to use JavaScript as our programming language of choice. And this JavaScript is going to be broken down into something that the computer can understand. JavaScript is the language that we'll be using to communicate our ideas to ourselves and other developers, but that JavaScript is going to be broken down into something that the computer can more readily understand. So a program, set of instructions, programming, writing those instructions in a language that the computer can understand. Chat, why is Independence Day a true story? Why is Independence Day? Sylvia had it right off the jump. Binary upload, boom. Jeff Goldblum saved the world because he was able to write a computer program in an alien language. How is that possible, right? Well, it's possible because what Jeff Goldblum did is reverse engineered this alien language all the way down into something the computer can understand. We're going to assume even these aliens far off light years away, a constant for them is on and off, right? True, like on and off values. Those on and off values can be represented by binary. From binary, we can build up to simple logic. From simple logic, we can build up to a language that the computer can understand. From that, we can build up to this alien language that might not be readable to us, but would be readable to the alien developers. And so that's what Jeff Goldblum did. He wrote that program. We uploaded it to Alien Mothership. All the shields came down. We nuked them and we saved the Earth. So Independence Day is a true story because of binary upload, boom. Well done, chat. If you're new here, a lot of these are kind of like inside jokes from previous lectures. So if you're catching up, all of our past classes are on YouTube. And so you can find all the past 10 classes and a bonus CSS animation class on YouTube if you do ! YouTube. All right, we're going to talk about some JavaScript tonight. I want to review some variables, and then we're going to start writing some code. Okay, so let's get through this review. We've seen a lot of this stuff before already. Should be fresh, but let's make sure it's in the top of our minds, and then we're going to start writing some code. All right, remember, JavaScript has a specific syntax. When we were looking at HTML, our HTML had tags that opened and closed. When we were looking at CSS, we were writing rules that use curly braces. Well, JavaScript has its own specific syntax. And you're going to start to see some characters that keep getting reused. The parentheses, the curly braces, the way that we write our JavaScript all makes up this idea of a syntax, like the spelling and grammar rules of the language. Okay. Variables are one of the big four. Hey, Cookie Codes, thanks for gifting the subs. I appreciate that. More folks just unlocked the Micro Leon. I appreciate that, folks. I really do. If you're new and following along, all of the subs, the cheering, the donations, all of that goes to a nonprofit called Resilient Coders. So feel free if you would like to. It's never necessary to do any of this. Also, there's also like if you have Amazon Prime, you can use that instead. And like I said, this is all for free, folks. So I appreciate the subs. I really appreciate the gifted subs, but entirely not necessary. And if you do, all going to a great cause. Variables. What are variables? Variables are one of the big four, right? We're going to have variables, conditionals, functions, and loops that we'll be talking about today. And variables are probably one of the very first things you'll ever learn about when you get to JavaScript. And so I love seeing people use the little Leon. I'm so proud of that. You guys got to realize that like I've used Twitch for years, and the fact that like my face is now an emoticon like makes my life. So thank you to everyone that's been following along. I really appreciate being here. This has been a really fun adventure to like be able to see myself like in Twitch chat now. I love it. Thank you so much. Variables, right, are one of those big four. And the first thing we'll be using, and people in chat already got it, variables are just a way of telling our program to remember a value to use later on. Okay, so we create a little bucket. We can put a value in that bucket, and then we can say, hey, I'm going to want to use the value that's inside this bucket later on. Okay. I like the wall of the little Leons. I appreciate that, everybody. So when we are creating variables, there are two steps, right? There are declaring, which is like creating that space of memory for that value, and the assignment. Now, those are big fancy words, but really all you're doing is creating something and then storing a value in that something. So here I am declaring a variable called age. Whoop, hold on. Need my demo pro going so I can circle stuff for y'all. All right, I think we're good. So here I am declaring a variable called age. So now if I had memory, there is now a space in memory called age. So here's memory. Now there's a space in memory called age. This declaration step created that space in memory. On the next line, I assign a value to that space in memory. So that space in memory is now 25. If at any point in time I ask for age, I will get 25 back. That's the beauty of variables. We can store a value that we can use later on, right? When you get an ID card, they put your age on the ID, right? When you go and you show your ID to the bouncer at a club, the bouncer looks at your age and is like, oh, you are 25? Great. You can enter the club, right? So we use variables all the time. We're already used to this idea of like being able to store a value for later on. That person's name is Bob, right? There's now a space in my memory for that person's name, and the value is Bob. Later on, I can use their name, Bob, to greet them. We use variables all the time. It's not a new concept. It's not something that should stress you out or make you fearful. It's something that we already use as humans all the time. There are so many things that we store into memory to use later on, and we're going to use the same thing when it comes to programming. Mehdi, yes, you can store words, letters, and anything you want inside of a variable in JavaScript. There's actually 7 different things you can put in there. We can have numbers, we can have strings, we can have booleans, we can have a bunch of other things that we'll explore together in a little bit. But yeah, the big things we learned about so far are numbers and strings. If you do not have the Micro Leon unlocked yet, you get it by subbing using your Twitch Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub with that for free. Or with your micro Leons, which are channel points, you can unlock the emoticon as well. So you don't need to pay to get access to it. Although a lot of people have it now, thanks to all the folks that gifted subs today. I appreciate y'all. Cool. So let's keep moving. When I am declaring my variables, I like to give them names that use camel casing, right? So here we have the first word, which is lowercase, and then every other word is capitalized. Now you don't have to follow this convention, right? You don't have to follow this convention, but you do need to stick to something so that all your code is consistent. Thank you, Beck, for the hydration. I will take a lovely sip of water. Cheers to you. Thank you. I was getting a little parched. And so some teams will use hyphens. Some teams will use underscores. It's up to you and your team to decide what they're going to use. But I use camel casing not only in my JavaScript, but in my HTML and my CSS as well. So if you're not using some convention, think about using camel case now. What can you store in variables? Well, so far we've seen numbers and strings. Next class we'll be learning about arrays and objects and other fun stuff that we can put in these types. But let's review strings. Strings are just pieces of text, right? Strings are just pieces of text. We can have strings that start with double quotes on the outside or strings that start with single quotes on the outside. Both are perfectly fine. Just remember, whatever you use on the outside, you can't use on the inside. So if you use single quotes on the outside, you can't use single quotes on the inside. If you use double quotes on the outside, you can't use them on the inside. That's the only quirk of the strings. We also have numbers that we can store in variables in JavaScript. We have two different kinds of numbers. We have integers and floated values. Integers are like our whole numbers, and floats are numbers that have decimal points. We have sign numbers, positive and negatives, and we can also do things like arithmetic. So we can add, subtract, multiply, divide, and even do fancy things like modulus. Chat, what does modulus do again? What does modulus do? Boom, Cross got it right out the jump. It's the remainder. Yeah, everybody, we got it, the remainder, nice. So it's the remainder, right? And so if we're moving a little bit fast through this, it's because we've covered a lot of this in previous classes before. So you're playing catch up. Once again, !YouTube, you can watch all the past classes. But we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna be writing some variables in just a second. So it'll be a good time to kind of ask questions. All right. So part of the starter code today, there is a folder called variable fun time. Let's go ahead and open up that folder, please. And we're going to work on that code. If you need the starter code for tonight, that starter code can be found on our Discord. If you do !Discord, you can join our Discord, agree to the rules, and you'll get access to the follow along materials channel where you'll find the zip that has all the code we're about to use. All right. Let me pull up my code here. So I have in this class 12 folder, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So if we go ahead and we look at this variable fun time, I'm going to open up that index.html and this JavaScript file. So here's the JavaScript file for the variable fun time. There are kind of three levels to this. Okay, there's an easy, a medium, and a hard. I want you to tackle the easy ones first. And if you kind of finish those, move on to the medium. And if you finish those, move on to the hard. Okay. So I wanted to give folks a little bit of levels here so that if you're kind of ahead, you can kind of try and do the trickier ones. If you're kind of a little bit further or newer, you can try the easy ones. And so I'm going to put some time on the clock. I'm going to bring up some music. I want everyone to give a good 5. Let's do 4 minutes on this one, and then we'll go over all of them together. But this is a time to open up your text editor, to open up the files, and to start actually writing code. So let me go ahead and put a timer on here. We're going to do 4 minutes. Cool. Have at it. and we'll come back together in 4 minutes to go over it. I'm going to put on some music for everyone. If you have questions while you're working on this, go ahead and ask your questions. If you're new, you just saw some folks do exclamation point slides in the chat. That'll give you our slides. And so if you're trying to follow along, that'll give you the slides for today. Remember, if you want to be able to move back and forth through the slides, you can go ahead and just remove that live link from it. The live link makes it so that as I progress through the slides, it auto progresses yours as well. But sometimes you want to go back and look at the examples, just remove that live from it. And then if you want the materials for today, they're in our Discord channel. Exclamation point Discord will bring you there. Once you agree to our rules, you can join the Follow On Materials channel and grab all our zips from there. Everybody go ahead and take about 3 more minutes to finish up, and then we'll go through all these together. We're just doing some simple variable work here. If you're watching this right now and not following along, follow along. Go get the code, work on it. Especially if you're new to JavaScript, this is a great place to start practicing. So go ahead and get those materials and start working through it. If you have questions or anything that doesn't make sense or you're a little bit stuck, go ahead and ask that question in chat. Happy to answer them while we kind of work on these things. AnviTrain, what I mean there by holds a value from the input means that you're going to get the value out of the input. There's an input in this HTML file, and you're going to get the value from that. So you're going to declare the variable and assign it the value that was in that input. That's what I'm looking for there. Yeah, no worries. Great question. Ooh, 2 minutes left, folks. 2 minutes left. Work hard. You got this. If you finish, go ahead and put finished in the chat for me or done in the chat for me. I'd love to see where people got. This one's hard. This hard one's, woo! Oh, Rossi came in with the done. Wow, that's a good one. That was quick. Still got a minute and a half left. Oh, Kayla's done too. Damn. Well done, everyone. Well done. Minute 30 left. 90 seconds left. Wow, y'all went fast on this one. Knocked, it just means you're declaring a variable that selects the H1. So just a variable that is holding the DOM element that is that H1. Miriam coming in with the win. Wow, well done, well done. Happiness. Whoa, well done, Happiness. Good stuff. Ooh, K-Doge with the win. Just please with the done. Nice. Manny says, done as many as I can. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Do it at your pace. 808 done. Straight jacket done. Wow. I was really expecting this to take a little bit more than the 4 minutes. I'm impressed. Good work, everybody. Good stuff. 30 seconds left, everyone, and then we'll go over it together. No worries if you didn't finish. That's totally okay. We're going to go over it together. Ooh, 10 seconds left. Anybody else going to squeak in before the 10 seconds are over? Anybody finish it up within those 10 seconds? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody. Come on back. Come on back, everyone. Let's go over this together. Omar came in at right at the buzzer beater there. I love it. Imran did easy and medium. I love it. That's good stuff. Awesome. All right, let's go over this together, everyone. Well done for the folks that got through it. Well done for the folks that are still working on it. Let's take a look at these together. Create a variable and assign it a number. Cool. Let me create any variable I want. I'm going to create a variable called Bob, and let's say he is 10. I'm going to turn off the music real quick. Actually, I'm going to say Bob is 100. We don't know how old Bob is. Bob is 100. I don't know if have I introduced you all to Bob yet? I don't know if you all met Bob yet. I think maybe during one of the office hours, I introduced you all to Bob. Bob's a real person that that hangs out in my room. Hold on one second. Let me go grab Bob real quick. I'll be right back. That's Bob. So whenever I'm talking about Bob, that's who I'm talking about. It's a long story. I think that'll be the next community goal. The next community goal will be, what's the story behind Bob and why do you have him and why is he your best friend? Okay. Wilson, he was wearing a Man U scarf. So that's Bob. I'll make the next community goal the story of Bob. It's a really good fucking story. So the next community goal will be the story of Bob. So we're gonna say Bob's 100, and we're just gonna move on. We're not gonna put too much time into this. Bob's 100. Let's minus 100 from Bob. Bob equals Bob minus 100, right? And then print that number to the console. So let's go ahead and do log. And let's console log Bob to the console. So let's go ahead and save all this. Liz said, now he'll haunt my nightmares with that smile. Nah, Bob's great. Bob's been with me for years. Great protector, great roommate. I saw a bunch of people just leave chat when I said Manchester United, so I'm sorry. But been Man U since I was very little. All right, let's go ahead and open this in the browser. If we open up our console, we can see, we got 0 printed. We got 0 printed. Let's go ahead and take a look what happened here. Oh, I did minus 100, not minus 10. Well done. Chat got it. Chat saw it right away. I wasn't playing. They weren't playing no games. They saw it immediately. Well done, chat. Let's go ahead and refresh. And so we can see 90 printed to the console there. Cool. So that first one worked. Well done, everyone. Let's go back and take a look. The medium one was create a variable that holds a value from the input. So this was a little bit different, right? So let's go ahead and create a variable called inval, like the value from the input. And then I have to go get the input. Okay. I want to go ahead and grab the input. So if we look, the input has the ID of Dance Dance Revolution. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the ID of this input. So let me go back. Let me do document.get element. Well, I'm not going to do document. I'm going to do query selector. Query selector. Selector, and then I'm going to use that ID inside of my query selector. So Dance Dance Revolution, and then dot value. So what this will do, and this is why this was the medium one, what this will do is it is going to find the DOM element that has the ID of Dance Dance Revolution, right? That was the input inside of my HTML, and then grab the value out of it. So whatever value is inside of that input is now going to be stored in this variable called inval. Okay. Okay. And so what I can do now is I should be able to grab any value that's in that input, put it in this variable. So then let's go ahead and add 25 to it. So let's go ahead and do inval, and then we're going to say equals inval. And there are other ways that we can do this, right? We can do plus equals. We can do a couple other ways of adding, but we're just going to do plus 25 here. So what this should do is just take whatever value is in the input, add 25 to it, and then let's alert the number. So we'll alert inval. All right, let's save this. Let's see if it works, and then we'll go over it together. Let's go back to the browser. Let's refresh. And it said 25. Interesting. Why did it say 25 immediately? Chat, why did it say 25 immediately? Anybody know why it said 25 immediately? Anybody have any idea? Yeah, Rossi, you got it. There's nothing that's slowing this down. There's nothing that's waiting for us to get that input, right? There's nothing that's waiting for us to get that value, right? There's nothing that's saying, hey, wait until you click or wait a certain period of time. It's just going to try and grab the value out of the input immediately. Okay. And so that's something to think about, is that there's nothing that's slowing this down. We could put a value on the input and that would give us like a default value for the input. But it's important to note that right now, as it stands, there's nothing that's stopping this from running instantly. Okay. So we'll see that in the next few questions. We're going to put them inside of click events, things like that. But know that right now it's running immediately and there's nothing in the input at that time. So we're just taking like a blank value and adding 25 to it. And the funny thing is that it might not even be a number that we're adding to. It could be concatenating, like putting two strings together. So that's also something interesting. So let's slow this down a little bit. Let's put this inside of a click event. And so that's what we're going to do down here. We're going to create a click event. So let's create that click event, right? And then we'll come back to this one and see if we can do it after a click event. All right. Works automatically, but like bad magic. I agree. All right. So let's create a variable that holds the H1. I just want to select the DOM element here. So I'm going to do const and I'm going to see if I can find the H1. So if we look, the H1 doesn't have an ID or anything. So I'm just going to use query selector H1. There's only one H1, so I can do const heading 1, just to be really explicit here. Heading 1 equals document.query selector, and we're just going to select the H1, right? So all that's going to do is now that H1 is sitting inside the variable heading 1, and then I can go ahead and create the next line, the event listener. So I'm going to do this event listener heading 1, and we're going to do add event listener. I remember our event listener, our add event listener can do any event. In this case, we want to do click. So I'm going to go ahead and just do click. And then we can call any type of function that we want. Like we can run any set of instructions when they click on this H1. So I know this is jumping a little bit. This is why this was the hard one. But if you've been following along, we've done all of these in the past. We've already done a lot of these little things. So I'm going to say run this function called add, right? Because it's going to add the two previous variables. All right. We're going to add these two variables. And so let's go ahead and create a function called add. Cool. And what we're going to do is we are going to, it says console log the sum. So let's go ahead and console.log. And we're going to add, oh, the first one was Bob. So let's do Bob plus inval. Cool. So what should happen now is we should, when we click on, right? So let's follow this. When we click on heading 1, which is the H1, when I click on it, it should run this set of instructions. And this set of instructions is going to add those two previous variables together. Let's see what happens. We're probably going to see some weird stuff here. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Make sure everything's saved. It is. Let's go back to the browser and let's refresh. All right, we have that alert that beats everything. And then let's go ahead and click me. And we get 9025. Chat, why did I get 9025 printing to the console? Why did I not get 115? Sophia got it. Okayla got it. Karma got it. Manny got it. Yeah, knocked you right. It's a string, right? We concatenate it. The 25 was a string, and the 90 was a number. And in JavaScript, we do this weird thing. When you add a string to a number, it just turns that whole thing into a string, and it's kind of like you push them together. Okay, so we concatenate it here. Okay, so that's why we're seeing the 90-25. Let's do some fun stuff. This wasn't explicitly asked, but let's go ahead and put all of this. I'm just going to copy it. Well, I'm going to copy this line here. I'm going to comment this stuff out. Let me copy it first. I'm going to put this all inside of the click event now. So instead of it doing outside of the click event, I'm going to do it inside of the click event, just so we have a little bit more control over it. All right. And then I'm going to comment these out. Remember, if you've saved your file as a JavaScript file, HTML file, CSS file, all you have to do is highlight the text and then do command / and it'll comment anything out that you want. All right. So I took the stuff that was up here in the medium and I put it inside the add. This should slow stuff down for us a little bit. So let's see what's going to happen now. So what's going to happen now is this is going to run. We're going to grab the H1 from the DOM, from like what we see in the browser, and store it in this variable heading 1. Down here, we're adding an event listener to that H1. All that means is that when I click on that H1, like when I click on that text, this add function is going to run. So we always like to joke that adding an event listener is like putting a Smurf on top of something. Like it's like putting a Smurf on top of your microphone. And the Smurf is just sitting there waiting for somebody to click. And when somebody clicks on the thing, the Smurf yells, "Hey, run those instructions," right? So what we've done here is we've put a Smurf on the H1. And whenever that Smurf hears the click on the H1, it's going to run this set of instructions. Okay? It's going to run those set of instructions. So let's see what happens now. Let's do it again. Now it should be slowed down a little bit. So let's go ahead and go back to our page. Everything's saved. Let me go ahead and refresh. And let me put a value in here. Let me put in like 75. All right, so now there's a value in the input. Let me click on that input, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we got 90, 75, 25. I love it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the code again. How can I fix this, chat? How can I make this not a string? Anybody remember what we can do to make this not a string? A Smurf is like a small green cartoon character from like a long time ago. I guess they have like more modern movies. Yeah, Mohammed got it right. We can use parse int. We can also use number. There are some of these built-in things into JavaScript that'll give us numbers out of strings. So I'll go with what chat recommended first, which was parse int. So I can wrap this in parse int. Cool. So what should happen now is any value that I get out of that input that's a string will now be a number. And so we shouldn't get this concatenation anymore. We should be able to do math now. Okay. So let's save. Let's make sure we're doing everything good. Let's refresh. Let's put a number in here. And boom, now we're cooking. We're doing real math now. We're not pushing strings together. We took the 34 out of that input, right? We took the 34 out of that input. We made sure that it was a number with parse int. And then we did 34 plus 25, right? And then down here, we have our lovely Bob, which is currently 90. Plus whatever value inval was. So now this is all working, right? Everything's a number. There's no concatenation, right? And so this is something you have to remember. You are all going to experience this. You are all going to have a bug where you're like, why is it not doing the math I want it to do? And you got to remember that if you're pulling stuff out of an input, it could be a string. And if it's a string, you're not going to do math. You're going to do concatenation, right? Cool. Alrighty. So that was this one. I know it's a little, the easy was easy, the medium got a little spicy, and then the hard was hard, but we're going to keep building on top of this. Okay. So you're going to want to come back to this one. You're going to want to see this as we build on top of it. Okay. Miss Turner, you didn't fail a test. This was a difficult one. This was supposed to be so that you could start getting the gears a going. Ooh, Luck Monkey gave me a stretch. 3,000 micro leons. Nice. Hold on, I got to stretch. Thank you for that stretch and the 3,000 channel points that you used there. This isn't one of those streams. You're not going to see me stretching on cam. I know you all want to, and I know that like I can make way more sub money that way, but I'm not going to do it. All the subs are going to a charity though, so maybe I should be stretching on stream. Maybe that will get a little bit more donations to the charity. Things to think about. Alyssa, yeah, 100,000 micro leons unlocks my OnlyFans. I gotta talk to my wife. I'll talk to her later. All right. Stop being selfish. All right, let's move on, folks. Thank you for the stretch, Luck Monkey. I appreciate that. Gotta stay healthy out here, folks. All right. So far we've done variables. The next thing I want to talk through is making decisions with conditional logic. And Noct, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers to you. Thank you. That was good. Thank you very much. As a reminder, folks, when we take our break today, you're gonna actually, it's 1:08. Funny commentary. Thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Little Bonnie said you gotta make that charity money, you know? Yes. So I want to talk about making decisions very quickly. We're over an hour so far. So of course I want to take our 5-minute break that we take after the first hour. So let's talk about making decisions. Let's talk a little bit about conditional logic, and then we'll take our break, and then we'll actually write out some conditionals together. All right. So if we're going to make decisions, we have to feel comfortable with determining whether or not something is true or false, or making those comparisons. And so we've talked a lot about this in the past, but let's kind of summarize some of the things that we've talked about together. First, we want to see if something is equal to something else. In JavaScript, we have 3, right? We have 3 or 2 equal signs, right? 3 or 2 equal signs. 3 equal signs means that you're comparing something in both value and type. And in 2 equal signs, you're just comparing the value. Now that doesn't make a lot of sense right off the jump, but what we're talking about is if we had 2 words, right? Sorry, if we had 2 values. One was, let's say this is string 9 versus number 9. String 9 and number 9 are both equal in value. They're both 9, but they're not equal in type. One is a string, one is a number. So when we're talking about comparisons, JavaScript gets a little weird because 1 equal sign is assignment, 2 equal signs is comparison in value, and then 3 equal signs is comparison in value and type. So that's what makes it a little bit weird. So here we have 9 equaling 9 equaling 9. That's true. They're both number. They're both the value of 9. So that's true. 7 and 3 have the same type, but they do not have the same value. So that is false. And then string hello equals string hello because they have the same value and the same type. And yes, that's weird. JavaScript, you can do comparison with strings. Okay. So We have the chart of pain here that always gives us some trouble. But the interesting thing here is that we can do these comparisons. 2 equal signs is just value. 3 equal signs is value and type. And then we can also do not equal. We can also do greater than or less than. So keep these things in mind. What I want to do is I want to take our break. It's our first break, so always take 5 minutes for that break. And when we come back, we'll look at some conditional logic. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on the chart here, please. Yeah, let's just block out the chart, block out the pain. Let's do 5 minutes. I'm going to turn on some music. I'm here to answer questions. If you have any questions about learning to code, if you have any questions about 100 devs, let's go and ask those questions. I always like to give 5 minutes so folks can stretch, they can hydrate, they can get some water, they can live healthy lives, so they can pray. Whatever you need to do in these 5 minutes, please go ahead and get it done. And Miriam says, we can still see it. Take that break, please, please, whatever you're doing, stop, get out of your chair, go get some water, stretch, move just a little bit, relax your hands, right? We're in this for the long haul. We're here to learn how to code. So make sure you're staying healthy, make sure you're hydrating, make sure you are saying hello to the kids if you have to, make sure you're doing the things you need to do during these 5 minutes. So take 5 minutes, please. Walk away from the screen. Leave the stream up, but just walk away. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll be here to answer them in chat while we wait. Charles Knight said posture check. Thank you. All right. I think we're good. Make my mic good again. Thank you for that, Charles. And keyboard check good, mouse check. All right, I think I'm good. Thank you for the posture check. Pop lock and drop it. Oh, you haven't seen my pop locking yet. I'm a beast. I'm not gonna front. I'm pretty good at it. I'll make that a redemption one day. Izzy, I uploaded my video through the Google Docs link. Is that fine? Absolutely fine. No worries. I'll figure out how to get to it. Mav said, this is my break from work. Hey, I'm glad you're using us as a break. I saw you knew about control flow. I have a sneaking suspicion you've written some code before. Little Bonnie. Street Jacket said, have you ever kept in touch with students months after getting hired somewhere to see if they are still employed? Yes. At my day job, Resilient Coders, we keep track of every student in perpetuity. Yeah. So we have really good longitudinal data. Our numbers are really good. Once folks get that first job, it's really easy to keep getting other jobs. And so our retention is like really high. We have an 85% conversion rate into jobs, and our like retention is like almost the same number. Jablaze Jawinski said, hey, Leon, do you have a favorite book author? So I'm pretty basic. My favorite books are the Harry Potter series. I'm not going to lie. I love Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling used to be my favorite author, but probably not anymore. But yeah, Harry Potter books, probably my favorite. I've read quite a lot of books. I like high fantasy. Right now I'm reading through the Mistborn trilogy. How did you get started with software engineering? Did you know as a young lad? So I was very, very lucky. In my middle school, we actually had a programming class. Like I did a programming class in 6th grade. I used QBasic. I got a sailboat to go from one side of the screen to the other. I lost my mind, thought I had magical powers, and I knew I was interested in coding. But unfortunately, I didn't really have access to computers growing up that much until I got a little bit older. And then in high school, I actually had C++ classes. I went to an engineering high school, and so I had like probably 2 or 4 C++ classes throughout high school. I got to college, I studied biology instead. And then when I started my company, I dropped out of Yale to start my company. And that's kind of when I picked up code again. So Yeah, I had some classes in middle school. I had some classes in high school, but I didn't really get serious about this until I dropped out of Yale and started my company. So probably about 9-ish years, 10-ish years now. Are you at a disadvantage using Windows instead of macOS? Not really. Just make sure you're using the Ubuntu subsystem. It's really good for following all the commands that you're going to see in tutorials. That's probably the only downside, is that a lot of the commands are written for a Unix-like architecture, which is macOS or Linux. But with Windows now, you can have that subsystem that gives you all that same functionality inside of Windows. So it used to be worse in my opinion, but now you can pretty much do whatever you want. All right, folks, come on back. I'm going to answer some questions while we get folks coming back to the stream. Somebody asked about my keyboard. Yeah, my keyboard is a Kinesis Advantage 2. It's a really weird looking keyboard. Let me see if I can get it on stream for y'all. It's a really weird looking keyboard, but it saves my fingers. Here it is. Yeah, so it's, there you go. It has like wells that you put your hands into. And the reason why I use it is because I have really severe wrist pain. So when I tell y'all to be healthy, when I tell y'all to hydrate, when I tell y'all to stretch, I really mean it, because you can really mess up your hands if you're doing this long term as a career. So yeah, I use the Kinesis Advantage 2 keyboard. I use a rollerball mouse. I'm sitting in a Herman Miller and Body chair. I take my ergonomics very seriously, because if I don't, I get severe wrist, like really like excruciating pain in my right hand. Oh, Rossi's first program was in 6th grade too. That's awesome. Hey, Alyssa, happy to do the breaks. Omar, the Ottoman slowly destroying your posture. Ugh. Yeah, posture is more like I think like ergonomics is more like how you sit and like how you control your body, and then like the gear can help, but like the way that you like focus is really important. Like how you sit, how you angle your feet, your hands, all that's really, really important. I'm gonna do like a post, I guess, on ergonomics. I spent a lot of time like reading and researching about it. I was very lucky. I had 2 students that have worked for Herman Miller and actually have their like degrees in like ergonomics that have like helped me through some of this stuff. So yeah. Matt, if we have the same keyboard, that's awesome. Yeah, my wrists are no joke. Green screen I am using is the Elgato green screen that goes up and down. It's super clutch. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite purchases. For ergonomic chairs, I definitely recommend the Herman Miller Aeron chairs. Depending on where you live, you can typically find a good one on Craigslist. Deal hunt like crazy. I got my Herman Miller and body chair for $300. It took me a couple months of wheeling and dealing, but I got it for $300. It's like a $1,400 chair, so it can happen. It can happen. Just a few more questions real quick, and then we'll jump right back into it, folks. Any info on the Minecraft server? Not yet. I promised I worked really hard on it this weekend. I had no idea there were so many things that we had to set up for that to work, and so I'm still working on it. I'm aiming by Friday to have it live, but I'm working on it. Trust me, please. Yeah, the Craigslist in the Bay Area is wild. Like some of the stuff you'll see on there, that's just so cheap. We're trying to get another embody chair right now. I've been combing Craigslist for a while. Yeah. Count the shells. Yeah, I agree with that. They said never skip anything that separates your body from the floor. Shoes, chair, bed, worth it long term. I like it. Cool. All right, folks. Let's jump back into it. Let's get back into the slides. We just did some practice with variables. We're going to do some practice with conditionals next. After we do the practice with conditionals, we're going to look at functions. We're going to look at loops. And then we have two like bringing it home practice exercises we'll do as well. Cool. If you're new, welcome. If you would like the slides, do exclamation point slides in chat. If you want the materials to follow along, you can do exclamation point Discord. That'll give you access to our Discord community. Agree to the rules, and then you'll see a follow along materials channel where you can get all the slides for today. Ms. Turner, you got this. I believe in you. All right. Let's talk about some conditional syntax. It's how we make decisions, right? So here is the simplest bit of conditional syntax. Let me kill the music here, folks. The simplest bit of conditional syntax that we can have here is this if. So what's going to happen is if what is inside these parentheses is true, then we do what is inside of the curly braces. Okay. And so very simple. If what is in here is true, we do what's inside the curly braces. We can have else ifs and else as well as part of this chain. The else if will run if the if above it was not true. So if the stuff that was inside those parentheses is not true, then the else if will run. All right. And if what is not in the else if that's not true, then we'll go on to the else that we have down here. So you're going to check the if, then you're going to check the else if. And then if you have an else, the else will automatically run without checking any condition. You don't need an else. An else is just if you want a default, something that'll run no matter what. Okay. The else ifs, you can have as many of them as you would like. So you can do if and then else if, else if, else if, else if, else if, doing all of those checks and then not even have an else at the end is totally up to you. So you will go ahead automatically. You will go ahead and the code will run. If anything is true, it stops. It doesn't move on. It just does those curly braces and then stops. All right, so let's take a look. Our trusty, faithful example here. Pizza equals Domino's. It will always be Domino's. It will never be anything else. And so, since pizza equals Domino's, we're going to go to this first if. Does pizza equal Papa John's? No. Since pizza does not equal Papa John's, we move on to the else if. We don't do anything. We move on to the else if. Does pizza equal Domino's? Yes. So printed to the console will be all aboard the train to Flavor Town, right? That's going to be printed into our console, right? All right. Does the else run in this scenario? Chat, does the else run in this scenario? No, it does not. Well done, chat. Just people talking about pizza is hilarious. Yeah, it never runs because the else if, since it was true, that console log all aboard the train to Flavor Town, that runs, right? And then we never get to the else. That console log never happens. Cool. What's the danger we have to worry about assignment versus comparison? What do we mean by that? What's the danger? What's the danger here with assignment versus comparison? Why do I bring this up? Why is there a slide? Ooh, Sylphia got it. Straight Jacket got it. Nice. When we have one equal sign, that is not doing comparison. One equal sign will be reassignment. Reassignment just means that whatever was that variable was holding, you're now going to set it equal to a new value, right? So you got to be careful. If you use one equal sign, it's not actually doing a comparison. It's not looking to see if something is like something else or equal to something else. It's going to do that reassignment. You need 2 or 3 equal signs to do that comparison. 2 equal signs for just value, 3 equal signs for value and type. Cool. Well done, chat. Well done. We can also have multiple conditions. If your name is Leon and your status is ballin', you wink at the camera. That was for you. All right. So in this case, we're separating our checks with the double ampersand. That just means and. So if name is Leon, check, and status equals ballin', check. Both of those are true. Wink at the camera. Beautiful. Alyssa said OnlyFans preview. We're getting that nice content ready so that you all will donate to our nonprofit. I'll wink for each Twitch Prime that goes to our charity. There you go. Practicing. All right. We can also have ORs. All right. We can also have ORs. So here we have Saturday, double pipe character, Sunday. So we're checking for either of these conditions. If Saturday is true or Sunday is true, if either one, right? If either one is true, boom, it's the weekend. Okay. No, nobody's told me to hydrate, Cross. Nobody's used their micro Leons for the hydration yet. Well, we did have a few earlier, but I'm getting parched. Let me just say I'm getting parched up here. All right. So we saw and Bugaboo. Thank you. Cross, I appreciate you. Cheers. Gonna hydrate. That's a double. All right. So, and for checking both are true, or as long as one is true, we're good. All right. Let's go ahead and create an age checker. So in the starter code for today, let me go ahead and clean up this here. In the starter code for age checker, we have an HTML file like normal, and we have JavaScript. So the JavaScript here is one massive conditional. Okay. Oh, mine. Thank you for the hydration as well. Cheers. So this age checker is one giant conditional. Okay. There is a couple of things I want you to check. If they're under 16, you're going to do something. If they're under 18, you're going to do something else. If they're under 21, you're going to do something. Under 25, under 30, and over 30. So you're going to build out your if, your else ifs, and maybe an else if you would like. That's the first goal. All right. And if you want to attempt the harder one, there's a harder one for you as well. So I think there's just a lot to type here. So I am going to go ahead and put 4 minutes on the timer. Go ahead, folks. 4 minutes to go in and try and get this done. So fancy, so LA. Thank you, Alyssa. This is Leon's version of FizzBuzz. There you go. Little Bonnie, there was one stream I just had to, as soon as we were done, I ran. I had to go. Well, no, I think we did it midstream. I had to run. They hydrated me so much, I did have to use the restroom. Found it quite. Thank you. JSON Web Dev. I love the name. I was going to say if over 30. Thank you for the catch. All right, folks. You got 3 minutes. Let me restart this one. 4 minutes on the clock. Go ahead. Let me play some music here. You can set the age. It's just a conditional here. If you get to the harder one, then yes, I would want you to pull the value from the input. QLB, you can put the braces on its own line if it helps you. I would say that it's not super common in JS. I do see some people that do it, but most folks are going to keep them in the order that you've seen so far. But yeah, it works. JavaScript really is, you can really get away with whatever you want to do here. If you folks are new, if y'all are new here, go ahead and do exclamation point slides for the slides if you want to follow along with the slides. If you would like the starter materials that we're using, exclamation point Discord. You can join our Discord, and in there you'll be able to get the starter materials for today in the follow along materials channel. We're going to go ahead and take another 2 minutes and 50 seconds to create this conditional. And then if you finish it, go ahead and try the harder. If you finish both, go ahead and put done in the chat for me so I can see. And of course, as always, we'll go over this together. And then I will always share the solution code. So all the code that we work on together, I'll put in the Discord channel after class. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, feel free to ask questions. We're doing this live so you can ask questions. If you get stuck, let us know you're stuck so we can help. If you have regular old questions while we're kind of working, go ahead and ask those questions as well. If you're new and haven't followed, go ahead and give it a follow so more folks can see us in Twitch and can hopefully get some coding experience. 2 minutes left for everyone working hard. Go ahead and pull it out. I believe in you. You got this. I'm going to take another sip. My throat's starting to hurt a little bit. Nice. Happy to have you, Mammoth. It's been great seeing you in chat. Mammoth, do you program already? It seemed like you knew a few things. We're trying to dominate the science and technology category. No, I love the science and technology category. There's so many great people. We always end with a raid. So every stream we end with a raid, help some of the folks that are lower down on the page get some views. We've gotten some pretty good people so far. Folks that I've been going back and watching their streams when I'm not on. Yeah. Awesome. Glad to have you, Mammoth. We also have a Discord. We have lots of folks that are further along in their dev career there as well. Always interested in having folks help out. Nice. I'm glad to have you. Oh boy. 30 seconds, folks. This one was a doozy. This one was hard. This is just a lot of typing. That's all it was. A lot of typing. That's awesome. I'm in LA right now. Was in the Bay Area for a while. Ooh, nice. Cross finished with the stuff working on the hard. Oh, Rossi finishing up. Nice. Welcome. Whew. I got a few. This one was a harder one, huh? Oh, look at people coming in with the buzzer beater. Oh, Kayla done. Ghost done. Straight jacket done. I love it. Knock done. Nice. All right. I love folks coming in. Ooh, that was well timed then. People just came right in at the buzzer. That was great. All right. Let's go through this together. We'll do the harder together, of course, and then we're going to keep going through. We're going to talk about functions again. We're going to talk about loops. We got some practice to end it up. Like I said, this one might be a little bit short of a stream today. But yeah, so let's keep going. Well done, everyone. Nice. All right, let's check conditional that checks age. So we're going to say if, and let's go ahead and say if age is under 16. So if age is less than 16, what do we want to do? We want to go ahead and tell them they cannot drive. So let's go ahead and do console log. And let's just grab this text. You probably want to make it nicer, like you can't drive or something like that, but I'm just going to copy and paste right now so people get the gist. All right, then I'm going to do my else if. All right, so if they're not under 16, maybe they're under 18. So if age is less than 18, then we're going to go ahead and console log, and we'll say they cannot drive. And we're just going to kind of keep doing this. So now we're going to do another else if. All right, another else if. And we're going to go ahead and do the age less than 21. And then we'll do another console log. Remember that the shortcut with the console log, if you just type log and then tab, it'll fill it all out for you. And so they can not drink. So let me just grab they cannot drink. Nice. All right, they cannot drink. Let's do another else if. So it's just else ifs all the way down, folks. Age is less than, let's say, 25. Yep. So 25, and then copy it again. They cannot rent cars affordably. That's like the last big thing. The last big thing at 25 is that at 25, you can like rent most cars without like extra insurance. And then at 30, you can rent like supercars without like wild restrictions. So after that, there's nothing else to look forward to. It's all downhill from there. All right. One more else if. And so if their age is less than 30, yep, they cannot rent fancy cars yet. So let's go ahead and say they cannot rent fancy cars. Let's go ahead and copy it. Boom. Let's go ahead and paste that in. And then we have our if. So all of our ifs control everything. So we can just do an else because there's only one other scenario. They're either under 16 or less than 30. So we can just do an else here and say there's nothing else to look forward to. So we're going to copy that and we'll do our last console log here and paste that on in. Cool. So that's all of our conditional logic. And so that would have been good. That's what I was looking for. Did you all get there? Let me go and take a quick chat. That 30 line be depressing though. It's true though. All right. Yep, folks got it. Nice. Well done, folks. Well done. All right. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do the harder portion here. So on a click of the H1, let's look at, there's an H1. Yeah, there's a check here. So let's go ahead and say, all right, document dot query selector. And we're going to target that H1. We're going to do add event listener. And so this is how we're going to set up that click event. And we're going to call a function called age check. There we go. So our function is going to be called age check. So let's go ahead and create that function or those sets of instructions. So it's going to do the function age check. There we go. And I am going to take these two lines right here as like my comments. And so I'm just going to bring that into the function. All right, what does this function need to do? It needs to get the value from the input. So let's look at the input. Has the idea of Dance Dance Revolution. I'm a beast at Dance Dance Revolution. When the Saints go marching in, I tear it up. Tear it up. All right. Take a value from the input. So let's go do document.query selector. And we'll do the Octothorpe Dance Dance Revolution. Nice. And we're going to get the value. And let's use a variable here. And let's use the variable age. So we'll say age equals the value out of the input. And we want it to be a number. So we learned from last time, if we want it to be a number, we got to use what? How many micro Leons for a DDR stream? I don't know. I'm gonna. There have been some genius ideas. I'm gonna put like I'm just gonna put it as like a goof one, like 1 million for an OnlyFans. Just so that when like random people stop in the stream and they're looking through the reports and they're like, Leon has an OnlyFans. I'm totally doing it. Doing it. I'm gonna do it after stream. I'm gonna add it. And then like 100,000s for a DDR stream, just so you can all see my mad skills. Cool. Yeah, parseInt. We learned parseInt last time, so let's do parseInt again. Cool. That parseInt. So we're going to open our parenthesis, and then we're going to close our parenthesis. So now age we know is a number that's coming out of that input. And then let's grab our conditional from up here. So we're just going to cut it. We'll come inside down here. Cool. But instead of it, let's make sure the console log works first. We did want to put it in the paragraph, but let's just check to make sure the console log works. So let's save it all up. I'm going to open this in the browser. And I'm going to put a value in here. So let's put 20. And I'm going to open up the console before I click inspect. So I click inspect, open up the console, click check. They cannot drink. So that's great. So 20 was over 16, but under 21. So we got the right one. They cannot drink. So it looks like we're able to have the click event that's working. We're getting the value from the input that's working. And our conditional logic is chef's kiss. So I think we are doing well. And let's go ahead and do the last thing, which was put it in the paragraph. All right. Welcome, chicken butt. Happy to have you. Yeah, so Super Cyborg Ninja, there are community goals that we can set that people can pull them together. So these 2 extension classes came from people doing the community goals. The next community goal we'll have set up for next class. All right. So let's go back here. Let's finish this up. So instead of console logging, we want to put it into the paragraph. So let's go ahead and let's create a variable real quick for the paragraph. So let's do const, and what did I have an ID? No, it's just the paragraph. So we'll just do const para, and we'll set it equal to document.query selector. And all we're doing here is we're just going to grab that paragraph. That way we don't have to keep saying document.query selector, document.query selector, document.query selector. We can just now say para. So I'm going to go ahead and do some dev magic here. And we're going to delete this console log. And we're going to do para.inner text equals. And that should be good. And I think we're good on that. So what should happen now is we should put the text inside of the paragraphs instead of to the console log. Let's make sure it works, and then we'll come back to it. Let's refresh. Let's go ahead and do, let's check our 30 check. There you go. There's nothing left to look forward to. So it's working. And that was a first try. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. So in most text editors, whether you're using Atom like me or VS Code, there's a way of selecting multiple lines at one time. The first way you can do it is just by like holding down Command or Control, depending on what operating system you're on. And when you hold that down and you click, you get these lovely REPLs wherever you click. Then you can just type like you're typing naturally, and it'll type on all those lines. So I was able to delete everything. I was able to type the things I wanted, and I jumped to the end by doing Command right arrow. If you're on Windows, or I believe GNU Linux, you're going to do end, or like the end, or what's the other key? Page up, page down, or end start on certain keyboards, and that'll jump it to the end of the line as well. So there you go. All right, happiness, be well. Okay. So this is looking good. Let's run through it real quick so everybody knows what's happening. I don't like this const being after the event listener, so I'm just gonna move this up. All right, so we got some fun stuff going on here. We've gone ahead and we have selected the paragraph here, and we stored it in this variable para. It's just that I don't have to keep saying document.query selector paragraph, document.query selector paragraph over and over and over again. I now have this lovely variable that's holding the paragraph. And so that's why you see all these paras down here. Wherever you see para, you're really just talking about the paragraph. Cool. Then I have my click event. So I target the H1, and whenever somebody clicks on it, it runs this function called age check. Remember, a function is just a set of instructions. So when it hears the click on the H1, right? When it actually hears the click on check, it runs this set of instructions that we have here, right? So that's the set of instructions that are going to run. Okay. We look inside those sets of instructions and we're doing some cool stuff. We're going to get the value that was in the input, right? So the user could put a value in this input here. We have 30 in the input right now. Okay. So the user put a value in that input, and then we got the number out of that input. So sometimes when we're dealing with inputs, we'll wind up getting strings. Even though they put a number in there, we get a piece of text. So that parse int makes it so that we know we're always dealing with a number. And then it was the conditionals from there. So our conditional was, all right, so age in this case was 30. So is 30 less than 16? No. Less than 18? No. Less than 21? No. Less than 25? No. Less than 30? No. So since all these checks failed, the only thing that was left to do is that our else automatically ran. And that's why we see now in the paragraph, there's nothing left to look forward to. Right? Cool. Questions about that while we're here? We're combining a lot of little things here. So I know that there are a lot of little things you got to keep track of. But we're going to see them over and over again. Like we saw the parse int from last example. We saw the click event from last example. So we're just going to keep building on these ideas. And we're going to see them over and over again in different contexts. We're going to have some easy things for you to knock out and then some hard things. So that's kind of what we're going to build on tonight. Rossi, if you're getting the error not declared, make sure that you declared the age somewhere in your code. So my line 18, I declared my variable age and assigned it the value that came out of the input. If you forgot that step, you would probably run into that error. Oh, thank you for the music, Sophia. I forgot that I still had it on. Boom. I was just jamming out. I was just enjoying the vibes. Count the Shells asked an excellent question. If you don't put an else and have a bunch of else ifs, does it match with the last else if? Like, does it just auto to the last else if? No. So if there's no else and all the ifs and all the else ifs are false, nothing happens. It just doesn't do anything. So that's a really good question. If all the ifs and else ifs are false, nothing happens. But if you have an else, the else will automatically run when everything else is false above it. So if there's no else, nothing happens if everything else is false. Great question. Ooh, knock past the variable into the function. I love that. That's a good idea. Let me scroll up for you. Bye, Nowak. Welcome. Happy to have you. All the way from Argentina. Nice. My wife lived in Argentina for a while, doing field work. Cool. That's kind of all the code right there. Yeah. Any other questions while we're here? All right, let's keep pushing, folks. I want to get into the functions and then the loops. We're just getting close to 2 hours now. Like I said, I wanted to go a little bit faster tonight. And remember, I'll always share this solution code in Discord after class. Yeah, you would probably run into, Muhammad, you probably run into an error. If you're trying to do these comparisons, you might run into not a number. Yeah, if you're trying to do number checks with something that wasn't a number, you could run into that for sure. All right, let's go back to the slides, folks. If you're new, you can do !point slides to get the slides to follow along. All right, now this is a very crucial bit of information from last class. This shows up if anyone's applying for the 100 devs. 100 devs is our free, completely 100% free, full stack web development bootcamp that we're going to start on October 20th. If you want to be a part of it, you can do !point 100 devs in chat. The secret question that gets asked just to see if folks are following along, as chat has already said in abundance, the best show of all time is, of course, The Bachelor. Cool. That's it. Nothing else to talk about there. Let's move on. All right. Functions, chat. Chat, what are functions? Somebody tell me what functions are. Chat, what are functions? I love all the new people being like, what the heck is going on? Ooh, JSON Web Dev. I love that. Reusable code. Task for JavaScript to do. I like that. Conjunction junction, Orasi. What's your function? Ooh, cross-site instructions you can store and later call. I like that too. Mohammed said a block of code that can be called upon. That's good. I like that too. Your daddy said a way to execute commands. Yeah, I like it. Omar, sets of instructions. Yeah, I think that's the one I go with the most. It's just a set of instructions. So functions are simple sets of instructions. They are reusable. They typically, if you're following best practices, perform one action, and we consider them the building blocks of our programs. We're going to take our programs that need to do really complicated things and break them down into instructions. If I was a robot, there's a lot of stuff I do every day that would take a long time, right? That would take a long time for me to be able to code. Like right now, I have vision. That's really hard. I have like awareness of my hands. I'm not like constantly slapping myself in the face with my hands. I have the ability to like type, like all these mechanics. If we had to boil them down into their essence, would be a lot of stuff. When we're writing really complicated programs, we're going to boil our programs down into these individual reusable sets of instructions that we call functions. Omar is right. Like soaking the peas. Yeah, that's the example I gave last class is if I said, hey, soak the peas, you know what that means. We use functions every day, right? Every day we use functions. They don't have to be something that's hard to understand. You use functions every day. So if I said soak the peas, you know what that means. You're going to take some peas, you're going to put them in a pot, you're going to put water in the pot, and you're going to let them sit for some time. Right? So we know that what soak means. If I say chop the carrot, I don't have to sit down and be like, all right, take the carrot out of the refrigerator, put it on the cutting board, take your knife, avoid your fingers, make individual pieces of the carrot, stop when you're done chopping the carrot, right? No, I'm just going to say chop the carrot. Chop is a function that we have built into us that enables us to do something. So our programs are going to be the exact same way. We're going to boil down what we want to have happen into these reusable bits of code so that we can just tell our robot to soak something or chop something and they'll know what to do. Okay. Oops, my bad, bro. Said you haven't met my kids. They don't work with functions. That's a good one. All right. Here is the basic Miriam loves the posture. How are you getting these points so fast? Thank you. Hold on. I have a posture check from the channel points from Miriam. Make sure my chair is in the right spot. Make sure keyboard's in the right spot. I think I'm good. Actually, I'm gonna do a little hydration too. Thank you, Miriam. I don't know how you're getting these points so fast for all the posture checks, but I appreciate it. All right. So here is basic syntax for a function. Okay. We have the function keyword. This lets us know, hey, we're about to see a set of instructions. We have the name of the set of instructions. So the name could be soak, it could be chop, it could be whatever we want to do. We have parameters, which are things that are going to be passed into the function. So in this case, if we had a function called soak, we would have passed in peas into soaking the peas. If we called our function chop, we had passed carrot into the function chop. All right. Ghost said micro Leons take care of big Leon. I love it. True. All right. So we've already been using functions. We know what the function soak means. We know what the function chop means. We already know what parameters are. They're things that the function is going to take in so that it knows what to do. And then whenever we want a function to run, we have to call it. So this function by itself will do nothing. Okay. All right. All right. This function will do nothing. It'll just sit there forever, right? Until we tell it to run, okay? The example I like to give, and I'm going to preface this, I have a very healthy relationship with my mother, but let's pretend that I didn't. Let's pretend I'm going to call my mom to argue. I'm going to pass in all these things while I'm on the phone calling, right? So this function won't do anything until I call it. Calling is the same way as telling it to run, right? So we can imagine if this was soak, right? It wouldn't run until I called soak, okay? This soaking action wouldn't happen until I called it. Now, what am I going to soak? Well, I'm going to pass something into my function so that it knows what to soak. So in this case, I'm passing in peas, right? Peas become my arguments. Remember, I called my mom to argue. I'm passing in peas. Peas are going to fall into my parameters. And my parameters are just like a bucket. That bucket I can use anywhere in my function that's holding the value. Okay. So if I pass peas in, I now have a parameter or a bucket that's holding peas, and I can use it anywhere inside of my function. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at an actual example here. Here is a function called yell. It enables us to yell anything that we want, right? So here's the function. And the function will sit there forever until it is called. You'll notice that the name is yell. So down here, I have a function call. You know it's a function call because the name matches the function, and it has these lovely parentheses. Whenever you see a word followed by parentheses, you're looking at a function call. Like you're telling something to run. You're saying these sets of instructions should move now. So this is a function call. Remember, we call our moms to argue. And so I am passing in a string of hello. String hello is what? What would we call string hello? If you paid attention last slide, what is string hello? We call string hello a what? Or an what? Chat. Yeah, Sophia got it. Kayla got it. Off the jump. Great. It's an argument. We're passing our arguments into the function. Now, this argument that we pass in is going to fall into word. Word is our what, chat? Chat, what is word? Word is a what? Word is our parameter. Yeah, correct. Word is our parameter. It's just like a bucket. So we took hello, and we threw it into the word bucket. Now, wherever I see word inside of my function, right now it is string hello. Okay? All right, it is string hello. If I called this again and I yelled bye. Now I've told this set of instructions to run again. I've passed in bye as an argument. Bye falls into my parameter of word. And wherever I see word, it is really bye. So the reason why this is important is because now we can have these reusable sets of instructions that can take in values and do those things with those values. So once we wrote a function called soak, now we can soak anything. We can pass in peas. We can pass in potatoes. We can pass in carrots. We can pass in beets. It doesn't matter. We can now soak anything. If we have a function called chop, Now we can pass anything into that chop function. We can pass our characters, we can pass our chives, we can pass anything we want into that chop function, and it's going to work. So that gets back to the reusable function, like the reusability of functions. Cool. So these are the basics. Let's go ahead and look at multiple parameters, right? So we're going to have multiple arguments, multiple parameters, and then we're going to write some code real quick. So here is the same function, but now I have 2 parameters and 2 arguments, right? So hello is my first argument that gets passed in. It gets passed into the word parameter. Then I have my goodbye argument, and it gets passed into the other word parameter. Wherever I see word is now hello. Wherever I see other word, it's now goodbye. Mine redeemed the hydrate. Cheers. Thank you for the hydration. Thank you. So we went ahead and now we passed in multiple arguments that attach to multiple parameters. So the cool thing here is you can have as many arguments as you want. You have as many parameters as you want. Something new with ES6 is really cool is that you can have default parameters. So like if you didn't pass something in, like if you didn't pass an argument in, it can still have some default value. But for now, let's keep it simple. All right. We have some code. So we have some simple functions that I want us to take a look at. So let's go ahead and open up the starter code for the simple functions. I'm going to close these 2 here. And so we have this simple function. And here we go. So we have some easy functions that I would like you to create, some medium functions that you can create, and a hard if you need an extra challenge. So if you're not new to JavaScript, maybe jump right to the hard. If you are new to JavaScript, start out with the easy. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock here, folks. There's a lot here. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. It's going to go fast. 5 minutes to get as far as you can get in these simple functions. So 5 minutes on the clock. Have at it. If you are new and need the starter code that we're using here, go ahead and do exclamation point Discord in the chat. That'll get you access to our Discord channel. Once you join our Discord channel and you agree to all the rules, there'll be a follow along materials channel where you can grab all the zips, all the zip file of all the code that we're using. So 4 minutes, 35-ish seconds left. Go ahead and have at it. I'm going to turn on some music while you work. If you have questions while we're working, go ahead and ask questions. I'll be here to answer questions while folks are working. Shazam Comics said, hey, can I ask what tablet you use? I use an iPad Pro. So I have an iPad Pro that's connected to my Mac. I'm using an app called AstroPad and another app called Demo Pro. So AstroPad clones my screen, and then Demo Pro enables me to draw on top of it. And so I have some hotkeys to start drawing and some hotkeys to stop drawing. So yeah. It's a fun little setup. Took me a little while to figure out how to do everything, but it works really well. I think it's helpful to be able to point stuff out. Work hard, folks. You got this. Push, push, push. Mammoth, I have not. I'm actually vegan, so I won't be able to have or enjoy any of the chicken. But I am looking. KFC is testing vegan chicken right now. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not a healthy vegan by any means. So I'm ready to chow down on some KFC. I'm also brand new to LA, so I have no idea where to go or anything to do. So folks have recommendations, I'm all for it. That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, Alyssa, they've been testing it in LA, but I haven't been able to find any of the test restaurants yet. We'll see. I'm not either, Mammoth. People ask or they ask, I say it. But, yeah. Robin Hood vegan ramen. All right, I'm hip. I'm going to check this out for sure. All right, folks, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Have at it. You got this. Ramen head. That's hilarious. If you have questions, go ahead and ask questions. If you finish the easies, go ahead and say you finished the easies. If you finish the mediums, go ahead and say you finished the mediums. If you got the hard, whew, say you finished the hard. So for 100 devs, we're going to go through this material again, but it's going to be all different examples. So I'm committed to like redoing all the example code. There might be one or two here that I think really worked well and that I'll keep. So even if you went through all this stuff, it's going to be different. It's going to be practice. And so I'm going to ask everyone to go through it together. That way we can all grow. But for a lot of folks, it'll be review, but it'll be good review. Ooh, we got a lot of people finishing the easies. We got Knock finishing the medium. Nice. Ooh. Well done, Knock. Well done, Super, Cyborg, Ninja. Well done, Karma. Well done, Omar. Nice. Chess, please. Well done. David finishing the easy. Nice. Cross finishing the easy. That looks awesome. Ghost Fire finishing the easy. Nice. Honduran Coder finished too. Miriam got it. Nice. Woo, Izzy with the easy. Brain lock. I feel you. I know it's late. I know some of you are coming after a long day. And so kudos to you to come late and put in time into learning. I feel the brain lock sometimes. I love this username. Your daddy. There are some differences. So folks that are part of the program get special Discord channels, better access to myself to get help and review. They get resume review, portfolio reviews, interview prep, like mock interviews, technical interviewing, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that's going to help you get more job ready for folks that are part of 100 devs. But everything will be live here on Twitch. All the materials, everything will be live. So you can always follow along on Twitch. But for those that want a little bit more help, especially that are career focused, that's what 100 devs will be. Woo! Well done, everybody. Nice. Come on back. Come on back. We're going to go through this together. Oh no, it's 2:30, Miriam. Don't cry. Denny 420, but streaming boot camps be a good idea. What if somebody joins late to the stream? Then they got to catch up. That's it. So I'm not here for the good of all. I'm here for the folks that started out and want to join. For folks that are too far behind, all the material will be on YouTube, so they can always catch up if they want to. But I imagine once we get past a certain number of weeks, it'll be really hard for somebody to catch up, and they'll have to join the next one. Yeah. It's kind of how any boot camp goes, right? Like you couldn't join earlier. So the streaming is just for folks that want to be able to follow along, that want a free experience. That's why we're doing it on Twitch. Ooh, Straight Jacket finished the hard. Nice. K-Doge with the hard. Dope. I'm going to kill the music here. Let's go through these together. I might leave the hard for y'all to work on, and then I'll share the solution later. All right. Create a function that subtracts two numbers and alerts the different. All right, let's go and take a look. So let's create a function. And we're going to say subtracts 2. So I'm going to call it sub2. And we know it takes in two numbers. So I'm going to do num1 as my first parameter and num2 as my second. And it's going to alert the difference. So we're going to do alert. And then we'll do num1 minus num2. And so this sub2 function would take in two numbers and alert the difference. Pretty straightforward. Nice. Create a function that divides three numbers and console logs the quotient. I didn't have to look that up. I didn't have to look up the result division at all. That came totally natural to me. All right. Function div3, because we're dividing three numbers. Notice I always close my parentheses and my curly braces. Just a habit I've gotten into early in my programming journey, just so I don't forget to close stuff. One of the first One of the first big mistakes folks often make is they forget to close things. And so get used to closing things early. Little Bonnie, absolutely, you can apply for the second one. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and pass in 3 numbers, num1, num2, and num3, and console logs the quotient. So let's go ahead and do log, and we'll do num1 divided by num2 divided by num3, and that would work. Took in 3 numbers and divided them all. Nice. Last one of the easies here. Create a function that multiplies 3 numbers and returns the product. So let's create a function, call it multi3. And then we know we're going to have to pass in num1, num2, num3 again, just for our parameters. Cool. And we're going to multiply the 3 and return the product. So let's just do return. Remember, return spits out the value wherever the function was called. So let's go ahead and return, and we'll do num1. And then remember, it's asterisk, num2, asterisk, num3. So this function takes in 3 numbers, would multiply them all together, and return the product. Now, we haven't called any of these functions, right? So none of these functions would actually run. We haven't passed in any arguments. We haven't tied anything to those parameters. But this is the structure that they would follow. Cool. Did folks get these ones correct? Did you get all 3? Haha. Odin Code School, nice, awesome. 2 for 2, lovely Miss Turner. Honduran Coder got them, nice. Carmen got them, awesome, cool. Let's move on to the medium then, folks. Create a function that takes in 3 numbers. Add the first 2 numbers and return the remainder of dividing the sum of the first 2 numbers by the third number. Whew, what a word problem. All right, so we know we're taking in 3 numbers. Let's start with that. So function 3 funky. It's not the cleanest code in terms of naming here, but we're doing some funky stuff. So I'm going to call it 3 funky. I'm also going to do my parameters as usual, num1, num2, num3. And all right, add the first 2 numbers and return the remainder of dividing the sum of the first 2 numbers by the third number. So we know we're going to need a return. And PEMDAS and BEMDAS are in play here in JavaScript. If you're from the US, you probably heard of PEMDAS. If you're from maybe like the UK or elsewhere, you might have heard of BEMDAS. But it's just order of operations. So we can do some fun stuff here. We can do parentheses and do num1 plus num2, which would do the addition before anything else. Parentheses, exponents, right? So the first 2 numbers, we added them and then divide them by the third number. So num3. There you go. So this should add the first 2 numbers, boom. And then, return the remainder. So what's different with the remainder? What do we have to do with the remainder? Remainder's slightly different here. Aha, nice. Folks got it. Noct got it. Cross got it. Lovely. So it's not straight division. It's modulus. For those that haven't seen modulus before, what modulus does is it gives you the remainder. So this is all in one line here. Like we done the num1 plus num2 modulus 3. We could have created a variable that held the sum and then did the modulus. But it's cool to see here that we can do the parentheses and it follows those order of operations. Yeah. Cool. That was the medium. I'm going to save the hard for y'all to work on. I want everyone to come back to the hard. Okay. So if you didn't get to the hard, I want you to come back to it. I'll put the solution on Discord, so you'll have it, but I want everyone to do the hard on their own. Use the examples, look at all the examples that we've done, and then try the hard, and we'll go over it on Thursday. Good work, everybody. That was good. I feel like the answers are snappy tonight. You're all on fire. I love it. Well, Rossi, that's how it be sometimes. Sometimes, like when as soon as you see a solution, you're like, whoa, okay, that totally makes sense. So I am on day 99 of doing a code challenge every day. And when I solve my code challenge, I'm like giddy to look at how other people solved it, because I learn a lot about how people approach coding challenges by looking at their challenges. So you can still get a lot out of looking at other people's code. In fact, it's one of the best things you can do early on. So a lot of times it's not readily apparent, but once you see it, you're like, oh, that does make sense. And then make sure you never forget it again. Make sure it goes into your space repetition tool. Make sure it goes into your Anki. Make sure that you're actively recalling the stuff that we do so that it stays in your brain. Yep. Remember, recordings are always on YouTube. You can always come back and experience this again. You can always get the practice in again. A lot of folks I've talked to will come back, rewatch the lectures at 2 times the speed, pause whenever we get to the actual challenges, do the challenges on pause, come back, finish up 2 times the speed. So don't forget to do that. Muhammad said it right. Don't forget to reset the forgetting curve, right? Boom. All right, let's move on, folks. Let's go back. All right, let's look at some loops. Chat, what are loops? What are loops, chat? What do loops enable us to do? Ooh, repeating something n number of times. I like that, Okayla. Yeah, repeat functions, ways to repeat, repeating function. Yeah, these are all good. Nice. Loops can repeat an action some number of times. There are 3 main kinds of loops in JavaScript: for, while, and do while. And each type offers a different way to kind of start and end your loop. Okay. Now, there are other ways of doing loops in JavaScript, of course. There are a lot of helper methods that work with arrays like for each, map, all these things that will also help you do looping. But the built-in main loops, right, are for, while, and do while. But you will see these other things like for each examples. Yep. Cool. So it's just repeating. Here's like the fancy way of talking about the most common loop for. With a for loop, you have an initial expression. You have a condition expression, and then you have an increment expression. All that means is that you have something that you're starting at, something you're checking to see if it's true, because if it's true, you either keep going or you stop, and then you keep count of how many times you've done something. Okay. So here I'm declaring and assigning a value of 1 to the variable I, right? Then what I'm saying is I want this loop to repeat while I is less than 5. Okay. And what's going to happen is after each time this runs, I'm going to add 1 to I. So what winds up happening is the very first time this runs, it console logs 1. Then we add 1 to I. So we're at 2. 2 is less than 5, so we do this again, and we console log 2. Then we add 1 to I, so we're at 3. 3 is less than 5, so we console log 3. Then we add 1 to I, so we're at 4. 4 is less than 5, so we console log 4. And then we add 1 to I, but 5 is not less than 5, so we stop. Right? We stop. I like Ghostfire getting the application details in chat right now. So that's a loop. That's the most common loop you'll probably run into is a for loop. And all the for loop is, all right, here's setting up my counter. If this is true, keep going, and then add 1 to that counter every time. Okay. So that's a for loop. The other common loop that you'll see is a while loop. The difference between a for loop and a while loop is kind of has to do with whether or not you know your end condition ahead of time. That's pretty much the only difference. And you can use them in slightly different ways as well. Let me show you what a while loop does. With a while loop, I don't have my initialization step as part of the loop. So here I create my counter. And then I say, while my counter is less than 5, we're going to do this loop. So I'm going to print to the console where I'm at, and then I'm going to add 1 to my counter. The tricky thing here, though, that you can get into some trouble is, what if you forgot this line? Chat, what would happen if I forgot that line? What would happen if I forgot that line? Ooh, Sophia got it off the jump. Coordinate, yeah. Muhammad got it. Cross got it. Yeah, Ross got it. It's a loop. It would be an infinite loop, meaning that this while loop would never stop. It would just keep going because the end condition would never be met. So when you are doing loops, you have to be careful. You want to make sure that you can actually hit your end condition. You want to make sure that the end condition will actually eventually be true, because if not, your computer will run and run and run. So in my boot camps that are in person, I always have my students run infinite loops, and I get great joy seeing all their computers like slowly come to a chugging halt, and then they have to restart their computer because their computer runs out of RAM because this infinite loop is going. Chrome has put protections in to stop infinite loops now. So if you're on newer versions of Chrome, it won't like do the same thing. But if you're on older versions or a different operating system like a new Linux, a lot of times it will still crash the computer. You used to also be able to send people to websites that had infinite loops and it would crash their computers. I may or may have not done this when I was a little kid growing up. Not saying I did, but maybe. So be careful with infinite loops. Make sure you know your end condition. Make sure you're going to achieve it, or else you can get into some trouble. All right. We have some code that I would like for us to look at. So I'm a big boy. The reason I'm a big boy is I like to snack before I go to bed. I'm a late night snacker. I need an app that's going to help me stop late night snacking. Miss Turner, thank you for the posture check. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Here we go. All right. Sitting well. Got my mic in the right spot. Fingers on the keyboard well. All right. Thank you for the posture check. Oh, yeah, I know, Mammoth. It's a problem. That's why we're going to build this app to stop me from late night snacking. Okay, that's the goal. Let's go ahead and take a look at this starter code. So I'm going to close the ones that we were working on. I'm going to open up the stop snacking. All right, so what we need to do is create a function that grabs the number of snacks from the input and tells you to stop that many times. Okay, so if we go ahead and we open this in the browser, here we go. Stop late night snacking app. Here's a live photo of me every night. Right? And what we're going to be able to do is we want to be able to say, how many snacks do you have? So let's say I have 5 snacks. Right? I have 5 snacks in my house. I went to Trader Joe's the other day. I'm stacked with stuff. I was stacked with snacks at the moment. Okay? So I actually have 15 different kinds of snacks right now. What I want to have happen is when I click for help, it should tell me to stop 15 times. So this is very similar to an example that we did 2 classes ago called the 21 Savage counter, the 21, 21, 21. So very similar. What I want you to do is to create a loop that will say stop X times, where X is the number they input into the input. So this is a difficult one. This is hard. You got to get the number out of the input. You got to create a loop that'll loop that many times. You got to figure out a way to put it into the DOM. So this is combining a lot of the things that we've gone over today. And so this is a tricky one. If you can't do the full thing, get some portion of it working. Get a loop going. Get the value being pulled out of the DOM. I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see, 4 minutes on the counter here. I'm going to give you 4 minutes to see if you can get this done. So go ahead, see if you can create a simple app that will tell you to stop X times, where X is the number of snacks you enter into your input. Go for it. I'm going to put some music on while y'all work. If you have questions, go ahead and ask questions. Have at it. If you're new and you need the starter code, ! Discord and chat, that'll give you access to our Discord channel. Once you agree to all the rules, you will be able to download the materials from our follow along materials channel. Cross it. That's exactly why I can't go to Trader Joe's. Funny said it's not late night snacking if you sleep all day and work all night. That's hilarious. Blah blah. Peanut butter and toast is actually a very healthy snack. Go ahead. Got about 3 minutes left to work on this. If you have questions, go ahead and throw them in chat. I know this is a tricky one, so get the input working or get the loop working. If you can get all three of them together, kudos. Go ahead and put that you finished or that you're done in chat. Would love to see. Got this. Work hard. Little Bonnie said, I just went to Trader Joe's today. Y'all best believe I got the late night snacks ready. I believe you. It's a wonder maze of snacks. Funny commentary. Sometimes you need to do something funky, like you need to like refresh or something like that. If you're having trouble with it, there is a 100 devs question channel on our Discord group where folks have figured out how to do it in the past. So if you're running into trouble, definitely check out there. A couple people have run into the same thing. I think it was just refreshing that they had to do, but you might ask there if you're having trouble. All right, about a minute 30 left, folks. Whew, K-Doge with the done. Well done, K-Doge. J Blaze, happy packing. See you on Thursday. Ooh, blah, blah, blah. Done with a minute left. Watch out. Watch out. Well done. About a minute left, folks. You got this. Dig deep. Oh, that makes me happy. Alrighty, folks. If you got a question, you can go ahead and ask questions in chat if you would like. Ooh, Miss Turner got the loop. Nice. That was the important piece, right? The loop was the most important thing here. Oh, Rossi got the loop too. Nice. That's awesome. QLB, the music is from a royalty-free music YouTube channel. If you look on my YouTube channel, I put the credits in every video, so you can actually find that music and all of their free music there. One of the folks here in Twitch chat and Discord shared it with me, and they had some pretty good stuff. I've been building out a better repertoire of music that we can use on stream, so that'll be coming soon. All right, I'm gonna kill the music here, folks. Come on back. Let's go over this together. Come on back. So if you were working on it, come on back. Let's take a look at this together. This one was hard. I know this was hard. If you're struggling on this one, that's all right. Let's go over it together. All right. Create a function that grabs the number of snacks from the input and tells you to stop that many times. Okay. And so if we look at our index.html, what I really want to be doing is I want to be clicking on help and putting the values into stops. And I'm getting the value out of the input. So input, help, and stops are the things I have to remember. Hey, Miriam, have a good night. I know it's like 3 o'clock in the morning there. So Godspeed. Be well. See you on Thursday. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go ahead and create the click event first. Let's do document.querySelector. Cool. And we're going to grab the ID of helps, right? Because if we look, the thing that we click on has the ID of help. So that's what we're going to click. So query selector help dot add event listener, just like we've been doing all night, folks. All right. And the event we're listening for is click. And then we're going to call a function stop snacking. Cool. Let's go ahead and create that function then. Function stop snacking is a lovely function there. The things that we know we have to do. We have to get the value out of the input. We then have to loop telling us to stop that many times. So let's do that first. Let's grab the number out of the input. Let number of snacks equal, and then we're going to select the input. So document.querySelector, and we're going to grab the input, and we're going to grab the value that's inside of the input. And what's one of the things that we've been doing tonight that would help us out here if we're trying to count, or do something X number of times, and we're dealing with a value from an input chat, what we need to do. Yeah, parseInt could be helpful here. So let's just do it as a precautionary measure. ParseInt. Cool. So we know that we're dealing with a number for sure. The next thing, now we have the number that was in the input. Let's create our for loop. Just an easier, nice loop. I'm going to create my initialized value. So I'm going to say let I equal, let's just start at 1. And while I is less than or equal to number of snacks, because I want to stop for every snack I have. So I'm going to be less than or equal to. I'm going to add 1 to I each time. And so this loop should run once for every snack that I have. And then what I want to do is I want to put stop into this H2 for every snack. So what I'm going to do is a little trick we did from the 21 Savage, where I'm going to select. So I'm going to do document query selector, and I'm going to select this ID of stops. Okay. I'm going to select this ID of stops. So stops. So that's selecting that H2, and I'm going to change what's inside of it, inner text, to be plus equals stop. So what this is going to do is it's going to keep adding stops to that H2. So every single time this runs, it's going to add a string of stop that has a space in the front and the space at the end. That way it looks like they're equally spaced as I go across. So what this should do is when I go ahead and I click on that H2 of help, right? When I click on this H2 of help, what should happen is this stop snacking function is run. What the stop snacking function, it's really hard to say, stop snacking function is going to do is look at what value is inside the input and then loop that number of times. So if I had 5 snacks, this will loop 5 times. And what it's going to do each time, is we're going to go ahead and add the word stop to the H2 every single time. So if there are 5 snacks, we should see 5 stops. Let's go ahead and save it. Let's go back to the browser and refresh. All right, I have 5 snacks. Let me go ahead and put my number 5 in here. Click for help. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops. First try. Nice. Docked entered the browser. Entered the value 50,000 and the browser froze. That's a lot of looping to do there. Oh, Rossi, you definitely could have made this a while loop if you wanted to. Yeah, I added this space. Oops, my bad, bruh. I added this space so that it looked good. So the spaces that I was adding gave us the nice spaces in between the stops. So it wasn't just like one concatenated stop, 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 stop. Micro Leon's for saying stop snacking function quickly 5 times. That's a good one. How can we do it one line at a time? Oh, well, the way I would do it, if I wanted to do one line at a time, is a good question. What I would do is I would actually append LIs to a UL. Right? So I would just have a UL that would be boom, 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 boom. Yeah. You could do the string like the backslash n and stuff like that. I don't like using those because that kind of violates separation and concerns for me. So I would prefer to not have those special characters. Even though folks use them, I don't like to use them. I think that's too close to violating separation of concerns. But so I would push to a UL. Cool. All right, folks, let's take a look at the code real quick. Any questions about this code? Nice. Well done, everybody. That was a good one. It was hard. It was tricky. A couple folks got it. A couple folks got the loop. Well done. I'm not getting output. All right. If you're not getting output, the first thing I would do is I would look at where you're actually outputting, right? So did you select the right thing from the DOM? And did you put something into it? If you're having trouble with the DOM manipulation, maybe just start with a console log or an alert to make sure that it would work. Ambitrain, exactly. In this example, we don't need to call the function because our click event is the thing that calls the function. So the click event is actually what's going to run the function for us. Yep. So the click event is going to fire the stop snacking for us. And so since it's going to fire the I cannot say this, the stop snacking for us, we don't need to run it ourselves. Cool. All right, let's get back to the slides, folks. Let's get back to the slides. Exclamation point slides in the chat if you need the slides. All right, so we are going to do 2 runs of this code. We have 2 code challenges I want to do. Bring it on, and then bring it on again. For a lot of Leon points, Bring It On was a fabulous cult classic movie. Does anybody know the names of the 2 cheerleading squads in Bring It On? Put it in chat if you know. I'll give everybody 10 seconds. Just enough so you can't Google it. Oops, my bad, bro. Got it good. Oops, my bad, bro. I'm gonna have to figure out some. So I'm gonna see if I can give you some, like a bunch of micro Leons or something. We had the Toros and the East Compton Clovers. So we have 2 sets of code tonight that we're gonna wrap up with. We have Bring It On, and then we have the follow-up Bring It On Again. Right? There were 2, 3, 4, 5 more Bring It On sequels. Right? There was Bring It On, then Bring It On Again, of course. Then there was Bring It On All or Nothing. Bring It On In It to Win It. Bring It On Fight to the Finish. And then Bring It On, what was the last one? It was World Cheer Smack. Or World Cheer Smack. Yep. That was it. Those were all the Bring It Ons. But tonight we're only going to do 2. Okay, we're going to do Bring It On, and we're going to do Bring It On Again. All right? I think y'all just learned a little bit about me right then and there. Joe, Tsunami Joe, thank you for the hydration. I'm going to drink. Cheers to you. Thank you. Oh, I know my Bring It Ons. Cult classic. Great movie. All right. Blah blah said, between your knowledge of these sequels and the love of The Bachelor, I worry about your taste. You might have to worry. All right, so if we go ahead and we open up Bring It On, you're going to notice that it is the same code from last time. Woo! So we're going to do some active recall, some spaced repetition, and we're going to redo this code from 2 classes ago. So this one's going to be a little bit different, right? But it's the same one we've done. So this should be good spaced repetition for everyone. So I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. I want to see how fast you can go in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. See how far you can get in these 4 minutes. I don't think 4 minutes is enough to finish it all, but I want to see how fast you can get in 4 minutes. All right. 4 minutes and go. Bring it on, materials. Go for it. And then we have one new one that we're going to do that will take a little bit more time. So the next one will take about 5 minutes and go through it. Put some music on. If you have questions while you're working on this, go ahead and ask questions. If you're new and haven't followed, go ahead and follow. That way more folks can see us on Twitch. Live your best life. Who needs taste when you have a Twitch icon? Boom. You said it, Cross. Did you do the narcissistic number code wars problem yesterday? I don't know. Maybe. I definitely remember that name. I don't think I did it yesterday, but I definitely have done it. I have a couple different code wars names that you'll eventually find. Like if you like Google, you'll find them. But code wars are my fun ones. I try to do them as fast as I can and in one line as much as I can. But my code war has a lot of crappy code. My elite codes I take more seriously. All right, folks, have at it. Go as fast as you can. I know there's a lot here. I know you can't. It'd be really hard to do this in 4 minutes. But we've already done these before, so I want folks to power through them, see how far you can get. At the end of the 4 minutes, I want you to tell me where you got to. Which one did you? Where did you finish? Dig deep, folks. Fight hard. You got this. What is that name? Pen Shingami. Pen said, why didn't you have to put the parentheses when calling the function on the event listener? That is an excellent question. If you put the parentheses, the function will immediately run. It will call. As soon as the page loads, boom, it's going to run. If you put the parentheses, it will not wait for the event listener to fire. Okay? So by not having the parentheses, it won't run until the event listener actually calls it. There's some code behind the scenes that you're not seeing, right? There's some code behind the scenes that you're not seeing that's actually calling that function on our behalf once it hears the click. Okay? If you had just put those parentheses, it wouldn't have waited for the click. It would run instantly. So that's the difference there. But that's a really astute observation. Great question. Hey, different ghosts. Thank you. Glad to have you hanging around. Minute left, folks. Minute left. Come on through. Finish strong. I know this one was hard. I know we did this one, but we did it last time, so we can power through it. 49, 48, 47. If you have questions, go ahead and ask questions. Ooh, Miss Turner with the hydrate. Thank you. A cheers to you. Thank you for the hydration. Thank you. All right. 20 seconds left, folks. 20 seconds. Finish strong. Give it your all. Crank out that code. Type. The ghosts agree with you. Nice. Oh, Kayla with the done. What? Get out of here. No way. Whew, with the buzzer beater too. Well done. Well done. All right, folks. What? Knocked with the done too? Well done. Where did everybody finish? So everybody put in chat where they finished. Yes, you. Yes, you person that's never typed in chat before. Where did you get to? If you didn't open the file, that's okay. Just say I didn't open the file. All right, so we got to the loops, second to last. We got to the functions. We got to the conditionals. Cooking dinners to not very far. I love it. I'm just still watching Brain Dead. Oh no, long day. Line 13, love it. Line 14. Whoo, 808 with the done. Nice. I went to the bathroom, so not very far. All right. So here's the gotcha. These were all done last class. So if you want the solutions, you can do the exclamation point YouTube and watch class 10, which will have all these solutions. I want to move on to the next one, and we'll go through all the next ones together. So rapid fire. We're going to keep going. You're all back. You told me you went to the bathroom already. You told like we're good. I got you. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Bring It On Again. Right? We're going to move on to Bring It On Again. So if you go ahead and open up Bring It On Again, there's some new JavaScript. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. 5 minutes on the clock for this one. You're going to put in a hard 5 minutes. And then we'll go through it all together, and then we'll do a raid. So let's go ahead, put 5 minutes on the clock. We're going to go over these together for sure. Keep going. I know it's the end of the day. I know you've been working hard, but dig deep. You got this. 5 minutes on the clock. Get as far as you can go. Oh, Miss Turner, you got to get ready for school. Oh, you're staying? That's awesome. We're going to do 5 minutes on the clock, and then it'll probably take us 5 minutes to go through these, and then we're going to do a raid and call it for tonight. So we're almost at the end. So I appreciate you sticking through. I appreciate everyone that's here. Put in work, learning after a long day or at the start of a day if you're somewhere far away, right? Takes some chutzpah to do that. So I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you're active. I'm glad you're investing in learning. Super Cyborg Ninja, yeah. When I take some time off, it gets harder and harder. You know. Sorry you had some issues you were dealing with there. That's why I do challenges every day. I don't want to get rusty. Miss Turner with the micro Leons. I love it. The little Leons. All right, 4 minutes left, folks. Go ahead, finish strong. Work on these. These are hard. We're going to go through them together, though. We're going to go through all of these together. Y'all got this. Ooh, Medi with the posture check. Thank you. All right, let's see if I can get this right. I actually needed that too. I was sitting a little weird. I don't know if you can see me. Sometimes you can see me hunching over a little bit. Like when I get really into code, I do this. Like I come forward, and so I always got to stop that. So thank you, Medi, for the posture check. It was much needed. Roll these shoulders back. Ghost, we're gonna finish this. We're gonna go over it together, and then we're gonna end for the night. We'll do a raid, and we'll be back. Thank you, Medi. Yeah, Ghost, we got 3 minutes left on the clock. We'll go over it together, and then we're gonna call it a stream. Call it a class. A guy 75 with the hydrate. Thank you. Cheers to you. Gonna take a sip. I gotta change that $1 million cash in to my OnlyFans. I gotta remember to do that. No worries, Ghost. Happy to have you. I'm gonna start looking for somebody to raid after this. I do, Alyssa. I gotta talk to them first. All right. 2 minutes left, folks. Dig deep. You got this. Go hard. You got questions? Go ahead and ask questions. And we're going to go over this together, so don't worry. Dig deep, folks. Minute 20 left. Minute 20 left. Keep going. 1 minute left. Dig deep. You got this. If you finish, go ahead and put finish in the chat. I know I look really weird because I'm like looking for somebody to raid. So I'm like, sure. Feel free to with that conditional, Sophia. All right, 30 seconds. You got this. 30 seconds. Finish strong. You got this. 15. Anybody finish? Is vape juice on? I don't see him. Alrighty, folks, come back. Let's go over these together. All right, that's who we'll do, Alyssa. Hopefully they stay on. All right. Let's go ahead and work through this together, folks, and then we'll do a raid and we'll call it for tonight. Then last class of this iteration is on Thursday. And then we'll also have office hours back on Twitch on Saturday. Ooh, Ghost Fire done, Knock done. Ooh, we got a lot of people coming in done at the end. Awesome. All right, let's do this. Declare a variable, assign it a value, and alert that value. So let's go ahead. Let's declare let I always freeze up on this. Like, what should I call it? What should I do? There's so many options. Let dog equal dog. And then let's go ahead and alert dog. That's creative right there, folks. That's the high quality content we come here for. All right. So I have a variable called dog, and I've assigned it the string of dog, and I have alerted dog. Nice. Create a variable, divide it by 10, and console log the value. Let num, so we'll say let num equal, let's say 50. And then we can do num equals num divided by 10. And then log num. So what that's going to do is we've gone ahead and declared a value of num, assign it the value of 50. And then we've done 50 divided by 10, and then we log that number. Not too shabby. All right, let's keep chugging along. Let's keep doing this. Create a function that multiplies 3 numbers and alert the product. All right, let's do this. So we'll create a function. We're gonna call it multi3, and we're gonna take in 3 numbers. Instead of saying num1, I was going to say n1, n2, N3, just short for number for right now. We've seen this one already. And we're gonna alert the product. So N1 times N2 times N3. Dope. Cool. Let's keep moving. If you have questions, throw them in chat. Happy to slow down and answer them. Create a function that takes in 4 numbers, add the first 2 numbers, and subtract the next 2. Console log the result. Function for nums. We're going to take in 4 numbers this time. So we'll do N1, N2, N3, and N4. Okay. And console logs the result. So let's do N1 plus N2 minus N3 minus N4. Cool. So it added the first 2 numbers, subtracted the second 2, and console logged the result. Look at us go, folks. Look at us go. 3 more. All right. Create a function that takes in 3 numbers, starting with 100. Add the first number, subtract the second, divide the third. If the value is greater than 25, console log, we have a winner. All right, let's create our function. Function 3 num 100. Just trying to be a little bit descriptive with these. Like, they're not perfect, but somewhat get the idea. All right, let's go ahead and let's create a result. Let's create a total. Let total equal 100. So we created that 100 to start with, right? We have that 100 to start with. And then let's go ahead and do to it. So we're going to do total equals total plus, we forgot to pass in our numbers. Whoops. N1, N2, N3. We have 3 numbers, right? So total, the first time we're going to add the first number. Cool, we did that. Now total equals total minus the second, N2. And then total equals total. And then we're going to divide the third, N3. Cool. So that's how we've done our math. So total has started off at 100. We add it to total, the first number. We subtract it from total, the second number. And we've divided by 3, right? The last number. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, forgot the T. Well done, chat. Oh my gosh. I just want to start live streaming like all my code. Like when I'm writing code all day, I just want to live stream it because people catching the little things is amazing. Well done, chat. Well done. I love it. All right. If the value is greater than 25, console log, we have a winner. So if, there we go. And so total greater than 25, not greater than or equal to. If it's greater than 25, console log, we, all caps, have a winner. Cool. So there we go. Ooh, Cross H would pay good Mike early on to watch you go through a code challenge. I like that. That's a good idea. I think that'd be really cool. Let's do that. We'll do a class where we go through coding challenges. Nice. Winner, chicken dinner. Nice. Yeah, we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that during the gap. Because that'll be easy. I don't have to prep anything. I just got to be good at solving code challenges. I'm pretty decent at solving them. So maybe it'll be a fun class just to do because I won't have to like do slides and stuff. So it'll be an easy one to fit in. So good idea. We'll do that. All right. This works. So we had 100, we added to it, subtracted from it, divided from it. And then if the total was greater than 25, we print it to the console, we have a winner. I feel comfortable with that. All right, last one. Create a function that takes in the day of the week. If it's a weekend, alert weekend. If it's not a weekend, alert weekday. Handle capitalization. If the user does not enter a day of the week, alert try again. All right. Ooh, Miss Turner with the posture check. Thank you. Whew. These ones are getting spicy. Ooh, thank you. Back's good, feet are good, hands are good, mic's in the right spot. Thank you for that, appreciate that. All right, create a function. Call it day of week. Woo. And it's gonna take in a day. There we go. And then what we wanna do is we wanna do day equals day to lower case. Chat, why do I wanna do that? Why do I wanna do day equals day to lowercase? Why am I gonna do that, chat? Why would I do that? Yeah, to account for the capitalizations. No matter what somebody does, I can handle that sensitivity, right? So if they do they start with a capital letter, or if they go to a lowercase letter, I can handle that. So that's what we'll do. So day equals day to lowercase, nice. And then let's go ahead and check. So we'll do our conditional. If day equals Saturday, remember I have to make it lowercase because I just said everything's gonna be lowercase, or day equals Sunday, then we should alert weekend. Awesome. And then if it's not, else if we can say, let's do all of them. So let's do it real quick. Monday. Sorry, I gotta do day equals. So day equals Monday, or day equals Tuesday, or day. There's also something called a switch case that makes this easier, but we're not gonna do that for now. Wednesday, or day equals Thursday, or day equals Friday. Cool. So that's all of our ors there. Nice. So if it is any of these, we'll alert weekday. I don't know, K-Doge, how they type these so quick. It's awesome. Then we're gonna have an else. So if it's not Saturday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, we're just gonna have them alert try again. Boom. Yeah, there are some structures that we'll learn next week with arrays and objects, Chaz, please, that would make this easier. Cool. All right. Omar, what's wrong with the else? What do we see? What do we see? Cool. Feel comfortable with this. All right, last one. Create a function that takes in a number, console log all the values from 1 to that number or greater, but count by 3. Okay, so let's try that. Let's go ahead and do function. And we'll say count by 3, and we'll take in a number, and we're gonna have a for loop inside of it, and that for loop is gonna console log all the values. So let's set up the loop. Let I equal 1, while I is less than or equal to num, and then we'll do I. We're gonna do plus equal 3. That's how I'm gonna get to count by 3. right? That's how I'm going to make it do by 3. So instead of doing plus plus, we'll do 3. Cool. And then all we have to do is we got the console log the value, console log I. There we go. So we're going to count by 3s, right? So we're telling it to go up by 3. And we have a nice loop set up. And so this should put all the numbers between 1 and the number that gets passed in. And we're counting by 3s. Nice. Questions. All right. So all of these solutions will be put into the Discord as soon as we're done. We did a lot of material today. If we go back to the slides, there is a little bit of homework I need you to do before next class. I need you to go ahead and review any of the code that didn't make sense, right? You can check the VOD, you can go through the material. Make sure you go through the code that doesn't make sense. Before next Thursday, I need you to look at javascript.info/array, and I need you to look at javascript.info/object. It's really important that you look at both of these so that next class isn't like a shock to the system. We're going over arrays, we're going over objects. We're actually learning about APIs and like getting data from NASA and getting data from a cocktail recipe database. So I want you to make sure you get through arrays and get through objects just so that that's not a shock. And then we're going to go over it together. Okay. So if you're not part of the Discord, !Discord to get all the materials. It's been really fun being back with y'all. We went for 3 hours. Kudos to you for sticking strong, hanging out. Thank you for all of the subs, the donated subs, all of the Twitch Prime subs. It's all going to a wonderful cause. So thank you. I am going to raid Vape Juice Jordan, who, believe it or not, is building an OnlyFans competitor. Tell him that I am going to join OnlyFans for 1 million channel points. Go show Vape Juice some love and some good vibes. And I'll see you over there, and I'll see you all on Thursday. So let's go ahead and do this raid real quick. Remember, if you raid, you get all the extra points. So definitely join the raid. I'll see you over there. Starting it now. It's going to take a second. It's been wonderful hanging out with y'all tonight. Let's end it with some positivity. Let's do this raid. See you all on Thursday.